Start streaming. Been a while. I'm all tangled up. Hello, everybody. How you diddling? How you diddling? How you diddling, guys? Gatford, are you here, or was that a previous? Was that right? I'm deaf, so I need to change it to that. I'm deaf. Aha, because the kids. Gatford's here. Nice to see you, man. Hope Mum is okay. Hold the line, caller, because this has not been set up like this for a long, long time. What have my kids done to this? Excuse me. What have my kids done to this? Bloody hell. This is technicals. I'm glad we started early. Where is that cable? That's not it. There it is. It's up on the table. Oh! Cable's on the table. Cable's on the table, kid. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bong. Hello, everybody. Get those subs in. Let's get those subs in. Let's want to raise £1,000 tonight. Let's raise £1,000. I'm looking good. I tried to find my cravat. Couldn't find my cravat. I look good. I look good. I look good. I'm going to own it. Let's go. Who have we got? We've got loads of people in, and we haven't done one of these for a while. Gatford, Ophelia, a Visionary, Raggy, Richard. I haven't got my bloody glasses, have I? Well, these glasses don't work, do they? Do these make this any easier? No, they make it worse. Pedal, Catifer. I need my glasses. I need my glasses, 'cause I cannot see. Oh, but love grows where my rosemary. These are on their way out. Look, that's not going to last much longer. Let's see who we got. Connect that. Let's see who we got. So we got to Raggy, Katie for Jason, Super Saint, Richard, Alan. Happy birthday for I think yesterday, Richard. Pedal. It's Sean, Raggy Doll. Ian Lee fan, Foxes Are Great, Sarah Seabass, 0851661, Visionary, Roger, Jams, Will Taylor! Lula Bell, Will, we need to talk, Mr. Bodell, Will, Simon Peter, Desi Abbas, Erin's, Visionary. Get those subs in. Oh, I've just had to change the password because I couldn't remember how to bloody log in. So the password is balls. Wasn't typing it in. You are in trouble, Will. You're always in trouble. That thing when you're typing, but it's not going in. Log in. There we go. Here comes Boyle. Oh, jeez, they're going to send me a code. You have to wait there for a second, Katherine. I'm just logging properly into Twitch. I can say it out loud. 62884. Say that, please, Katherine. We were unable to verify. It's the wrong code. Technicals.
Any Collis.
Hang on a second, don't, because you're coming out. I don't know where you're coming out. 666735. So there's that. I'm coming to you in a moment. Authorize that. Authorized. Gatford said, "Here comes his queen." So then we're going to go to Zoom screen and we've got to change the view. I've been playing with different views. I'm going there. I'm going to do the speakers. Boom. Why is that not? Hang on. Why is that not right? What are you seeing there? Oh, no. Now you're seeing it. Couldn't find my cravat. Looked for my cravat. Couldn't find it. Would have. These glasses. How do I get these fixed? I've got a screwdriver to fix it, but the screw doesn't take.
No, you know why? It'll be spring loaded. You'll have to take it to the opticians.
Will they fix it?
Yeah, it'll cost you like £5.
I like it.
I had to take big uns in once.
Oh, yeah.
They did it for nothing because we were good customers.
Cheers, everybody.
Chin chin.
It's been a little while. Just get those subs in. Let's donate. I want to make £1,000 tonight, please. If we can make £1,000, we've got some subs: Scotty Wings, Cozy Bug, Linny, Zerma, Lulabelle, Jams, Richard, Coded, Super Saint, Catifer, Alan, and Gatford. Those are the subs tonight. Those are the subs so far tonight. Let's get more in. David Turner's is here. We haven't been on Twitch for ages. Didn't do a couple of shows last week. Didn't do any shows last week is the way of saying it. Thank you for your patience. Let's just get it out of the way. Not Sunday, just gone the Sunday before. My beautiful little boy, George, I found him dead. It was on a train track, so it was not a very pretty sight. And I had my boys here. I don't want to talk about it too long because I'll cry, and I don't really want to. So I had my boys were in the house, and I had to phone them up, and I told them on the phone, which wasn't great. And I said, Kim, I've got some really bad news. I've just found George, and he's dead. I need you to stay in the house with the curtains drawn because it was a fucking mess. I need you to stay in the house with the curtains drawn. They were devastated, and I regret telling them on the phone. But then I had to put him in the garage and get a bag and put him in a bag. And then me and the boys just sat on the bed for an hour, just sobbing. It was awful. Then we watched some horrid Henry as something to do, and then they went home, and I just spent the entire week in absolute pieces. You know what cats mean to me. I kind of, Patty had seen him, and I know Patty had seen him because she was stood next to me in the garden just shouting at me, and she never does that, and she was shouting. So she'd seen him, and I'm devastated. I miss that little boy so much. The other cats are being really weird. Part of me sort of blames Dennis because I know they've been fighting just before. There's no way George would have been on that train track when there was a train coming. There's no way. But obviously he was not in a right frame of mind. Maybe he tried to shoot across it or whatever. I don't know. But so I lost my little boy. I'm kind of bobbing up. But just every now and then it will hit me. And I will have a little sob, and I'm not going to do that tonight. So that's that. Thank you for your patience. That's all I wish to say on the matter. Thank you very much. Let's move on, please. Let's move on because I don't want to make it one of those shows where I just sit here and cry for ages. And I'm bored of those shows, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving on. Which you did a while ago. You were never quite as into it as much as I was, but you did come with me some way. I'm moving on from those shows where I reveal all of my innermost self and workings and emotions. I'm done with those shows. We'll still share. I'll share something now. Isn't it great Steve Allen lost his job? I've shared something there. It's fantastic. I've shared that. But I don't think I'm going to... I feel like I've kind of moved on from that a little bit. I'd got 3 shows out of George, and, I don't really want to go there. Partly because it really, really hurts, and I don't want to face that. But also it just feels... Do you know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Yeah. I think that the difference nowadays is that you have an outlet for it, in terms of, as part of your other job, you have sessions and where you can talk through your stuff and come to some helpful conclusions rather than just thrown out into the universe and being disappointed or not and disbelieving of what comes back. There's the other thing, is that as kind as everyone is out on Twitter sometimes, you never used to quite believe it, the nice things. You believed the shitty things, the odd one that would come through that would be mean would land. But the nice things generally were were sort of fleeting little serotonin hits, weren't they?
Matty is in the chat. Always nice to have Matty. In regards to Steve Allen, he says he didn't do it like Trev. David says, yeah, all right, Iain, when was your last shit? That would have been, I went for a walk and I had quite often I need to have a shit after a walk.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say while you're on your walk, because
No,
we've
no, no,
had
no,
that
no,
story
no,
before,
no.
haven't we? Not from you, from a listener.
That was Nigel in Maidstone. Speaking of, mean tweets, I'm assuming you all saw the tweet I got from Jesus the other day. And do you know what? I didn't even see his name for a couple of days. I just saw the reply. So a reply to a tweet that I did a while ago saying, I'm now qualified counsellor. If you want to talk about working about anxiety and depression and addiction, then send me an email. And a guy called Jesus on Twitter just replied, wanker. You just reply wanker. Honestly, I keep laughing. I just remember it and it keeps making me laugh. It's such a good tweet, right?
I mean, he got to the point, didn't he? But he's got like he's like at is something Illuminati or something, isn't it?
Illuminati
So I would
Bert.
suggest you, sir, are the wanker.
Illuminati Bert. A couple of radio things. Steve Allen losing his job, good. Horrible piece of work. Joked about my divorce, joked about my suicidal tendencies, joked about my mental health, and I got off lightly. Made up all kinds of libelous lies about me. I got off lightly, yeah, because I'm a man, and I know why he didn't like me. It's because I didn't fancy him when he worked with me, and I called him out for the crap. I've told this story before. When I was at LBC at one point, he was on after me. Maybe it was when I was filling in for Clive. I can't remember. And so he would come in about 10 minutes before the end to do a little handover. And at least twice, before the mics went live, he would say something hugely offensive. Be like that. I don't want to say because, I haven't got recordings of it. I don't want to get sued by the prick. One of them was he said he'd spent something like £1,000 or £2,000 on scratch cards. Something like I don't know. And this was at the point when I was peed off with the other really offensive stuff he'd said to me, literally just before the mics went on. So I called him out and I said on air, so Steve, you just telling me about scratch cards. You do? Yeah. Oh, yes, I love scratch cards. How much do you spend on them? Oh, about 50 quid a week. You just told me you spent £2,000. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. Literally, just before we went live, you said you spent £2,000. What is that all about? Daggers. Giving me daggers. Anyway, coming up on the show tonight. Never spoke to me again, started spreading rumours, telling people that I had stolen a Nick Ferrari shower radio.
That does sound on brand.
To the point where I got called in. I think it was David Lloyd or Scott Solder. I got called in and asked about it. I am glad he's lost his job. I cannot wait. I can't wait to find out why. Lino used to tell me stuff about Steve Allen. Lino, yeah. So that's great news. Will Taylor's in the chat.
Pick up yourself, Will Taylor.
Will, tell us about your new radio show and how that's going and how people can listen. I saw you recently at SMH with your neighbour.
Hospital.
Oh, Stoke Mandeville Hospital. She is doing absolutely fine. She left me a very nice card on the car windscreen the other day, thanking me for that and saying, I miss George too. He was a real leader, and he was. I'm going to cry. I've not listened to Jack since I left. Not listened to it, and it's Matt Richardson, isn't it? I wish him the very, very best of luck. It's a tough situation there, and one day I will spill the dirt on just how awful it was to work there. So I wish him the best of luck. I hope he gets paid. I have, however, a couple of times, and I shouldn't really, because I suppose it's a bit mean. A couple of times I've gone to the Jack FM Facebook page.
Are they moaning? Are they moaning on there?
No, there was one person saying, "Oh, thank God you're here. Breakfast has been awful since Trevor left." And I was going to call him a bellend. I got an official warning for calling a listener a bellend on the Facebook page over
They
Christmas.
can't do you for it now.
The Facebook interaction is appalling. Here's our new breakfast host, Matt. Wish him luck. 2 comments. It's appalling, and you can't. Got a banana here. I'm going to eat this in a minute. And again, no promotion. They're tweets, no interaction, right? And this is not, I'm not in any way knocking Matt. I really hope he does well. I hope he enjoys it. I hope he gets paid. I wish him the very best of luck. It's not that. It's just a reminder that they are hoping to build a new show on even less promotion than I had. You can't get an audience for a show. Which was the funniest day? Which one was that? On your own Facebook, you need to do something, and they're doing nothing. When the next Ray does come, which will be in 2.5 months, I got a feeling they'll have gone up a little bit. You know why, Catherine?
Because it'll be your drag.
Be my drag. We had the first one where we go lower. I reckon the next one it'll be a little upswing. I would imagine. It's just I'm getting angry, and I shouldn't, that they're doing the same thing. It's none of my business now. Bless you once.
No, it's coming. It's definitely in there.
She never does one. Why would you do one when you could do more than one? When you called the guy a bellend, that was a good day, yeah. I remember I got phoned up by the boss, Steve. This is not going to be a fun phone call, Iain. I have to give you a warning. And I'd been tipped as to it. I said, what is it? You used foul language on the Facebook page. I said, was it me calling the bloke a bellend? He said, yeah. And I started laughing. He said, I don't think you're taking this seriously. I said, of course I'm not taking it seriously. I'm 49 and you're giving me an official warning for using the word bellend when we were playing that Darkness song, the Christmas song. The whole song is a joke about bellends. It's the whole song. And it was going on and on. In the end, I emailed the CEO. I said, Donna, this is crazy. I apologize for using that language. I do think you should have come to me directly and instead of letting this thing go out of hand. And he accepted my apology. And yeah, all the abuse I got. And that's the thing. I was getting so much abuse on there and they wouldn't delete it.
Yeah. They were saying awful things on there about you, but you call one bellend a bellend. Suddenly everyone's action stations.
Will. So I don't think I've heard your side of it. Will Taylor was my producer until they got rid of my producer, or I was his presenter. And Will said, Steve tried saying it was horrible and I just burst out laughing. Didn't he keep telling you to calm down? He did, and I was calm. I just kept laughing. Calm down, Iain. I'm so not angry. I think this is fucking ridiculous.
Yes, excellent management technique, because telling people to calm down always calms them down, doesn't it?
It was. It wasn't the reason and also when before I started, Steve said, I don't think he used the word disruptor. Disruptor's a new thing. Mm-hmm. He said, Iain, I'll be honest, one of the reasons we want to get you in is we want to get complaints. No one's talking about the station. We want to get complaints. We had one complaint because I was rude about Christianity, and that guy complained, well, you wouldn't say that about other religions. As soon as Joe passed me that message, I was then rude about Islam. So I just did. So there was that complaint. And then this was a complaint. And I said, Steve, you wanted complaints. Yeah, not complaints like this. And so I said, right, could you tell...
That's in the realm of be yourself. Oh, yeah. No, not like that.
I said, okay, so could you tell me which complaints are the good complaints and which ones are the... Oh, don't be like that, Iain. I'm not. You said you wanted complaint. I've not gone and called him a C or an F. I've called him a bellend. You said you wanted complaints. Which are the good ones? Iain, I'm not prepared to have this conversation. And then the next day I messaged him about it because it was getting, and I was on my holiday. And I messaged him and he said, Iain, I'm on my day off. I'm not dealing with this now. And I replied, yeah, I was on my day off yesterday and I had to deal with it then. I will not be dealing with this now. So I just emailed the CEO and went, come on, what is this? I'm so glad to be out of that place. Jesus Christ, what an absolute shit show it was. And you know, the management was terrible. There we go. Management was terrible.
What am I allowed to say? Oh, don't be like that.
Don't
Brackets.
be like
I
that.
don't know.
When on the day I left, there was a member of marketing who hated me. And when I came out of the studio, it's like an awkward 5 minutes. Okay, my last day. So I saw it as the show ended. She walked off to the kitchen, which is just like there, just like sort of imagine that mirror was a door. It's there, and she stayed in there for the whole 5 minutes. Didn't say a word. Didn't say a
No,
thanks.
she was in there having a
goodbye.
little dance and doing some party poppers.
You met her, didn't you?
I think so, yeah.
Thing, yeah.
Seemed charming.
Two-faced. Don't worry, Dan. Jo won't be stuck there. She's going to go on maternity leave, I think, next month. So, so I'm glad to be out of there. Anyway, we've covered this ground. But I just looked at, you know, I keep looking at the Facebook going, this is it. And I think Matt has a different attitude. I make up Matt has a different attitude. I make up he's there thinking, I'm working 5 days a week. It's just over £100 a show. I bet he's getting less than I was as well. It's just over £100 a show, and I'll do this until it stops. Whereas I was there, you know who it was, Will? It started with the letter A. Yeah, well, I was there. I was trying to build. I go into a job because I want to build something. I wanted to build a really solid show.
That's always the way things are sold, isn't it? It's like, we want you to come and do X, Y, and Z. And you think, right, excellent, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, they say, well, you can do X, Y, and Z once we've sorted this out. And we will definitely do that. And 2 years on, they definitely haven't done that. And they've forgotten what they asked you to do. And they start telling you off for doing what you were trying to do.
Yeah. Stuff that was promised. Camera in the studio. The phone box is the system that you use to take phone calls. The screen was always behind me. That's why you'd hear Will go phone, because I couldn't see it. I was told before I went in, there'd be cameras, that the phone box would be set up so that I could see it and that Will could take the calls. Will couldn't take the calls. There was that. There was going to be, I think there was talk of some posters, maybe not. There was talk of like branded evenings. There was all of this stuff, and none of it came about. You know, I said, let me log into your YouTube. Let's make your YouTube account a thing. Let's make it a thing. Because I'm streaming on Twitch. Why don't we just stream the show on your YouTube account, and then you can get clips and put it up there? Never gave me access to the YouTube account. I said, maybe we should incorporate the local paper. Maybe there's something, you know, I know it's not a huge audience, but ours is. No, I said, maybe we can incorporate the local paper. Maybe if there was a reporter in who I'd mistakenly had some beef with me, and I sorted it. And I said, if we get her in half an hour once a week, they can run a story, or I write a column for the paper. And Steve said, yeah, I don't think the paper's got any readership. I said, Steve, we haven't got any fucking listeners. We haven't got any listeners. So we might as well try, if it's free, let's try everything. And instead there was nothing.
Do you know what I found throughout my years of radio? People in charge were never really massive on entertainment, were they?
No. Well,
it was always, well, actually, I'm not sure because it wasn't marketing either.
Well, as Alan Bezic would talk about commercial radio, it's an advert set. You're selling adverts. That's what it is. It's selling adverts, which they weren't doing very well. A couple of, I mean, that Panini sticker game. He told it to me, and I went, we don't get any interaction. The only interaction we get are from about 4 of my listeners. Even Soto stopped calling. 4 of my listeners. When Gary was a regular, Dave, Jimbo, Mr. Bodell, and first-time caller, and a few others sprinkled in. But you were the main contributors. You were the ones that, once Will had gone, helped me do the show. I said, we don't get any interaction. He said, no, this will be really big. This will be popular. I think we had, Will, 2 or 3 people get in touch for trades. We had a competition where we were giving away Lionel Richie tickets. That's a good prize. A pair of Lionel Richie tickets at Blenheim Palace. Got need swap. It's a good prize, right? That's a good. I'd have a punt for that. And it was really easy. We did it twice, and the first one was 3 spouse in your mouth. It was 3 the biggest line. What were they? Dancing on a ceiling.
Yeah.
It was that all night long.
Yeah.
And
You Are My Destiny or something. I can't remember.
No, it was a bigger one than that. Even
Right.
one that I'd know. And they were just played backwards. It was so obvious what they were. We had 4 people text into the competition. We had 4 people text in. One of them got the answer wrong. 4 people. And then we did it again and we had 2 people the next time. And I said to Steve, and this was the language I used, that's a fucking embarrassment, man. That's an embarrassment. That's where we are. That's why we need to get out there. Yeah, well, you know, Lionel Richie's not our target. He's not really kind of target or on brand. I said, Steve, we had 4 people enter. That is a decent prize. All right, Lionel Richie is not. We're not playing. You know, it's not bloody Stacey's mom or anything like that. But we had 4 people enter. That's awful. And
but it was because you have discerning musical tastes.
Not because we didn't have any listeners.
Of course it was.
Did I get in trouble? I did get in trouble for the pirate thing, didn't I? What did I get in trouble? I think I didn't treat it respectfully enough.
Fancy that.
Anyway, feel like we're eating banana that fell on the table.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that place was kind of the epitome of the sort of thing that goes on in radio stations up and down the country. In my experience, I've worked at 4,
3,
and
2.
4, and it's always, they talk the talk and then reality kicks in and you're waiting for them to do something pretty minor but fundamental for quite a long time, and you're never quite working on all cylinders, never. And the people on air are just kind of left to crack on, and it's almost as if some programs are seen as being just tits and tinsel and the other ones get taken seriously. Some people are allowed to stomp their feet. Other people get told off if they stomp their feet or show any displeasure whatsoever. There's all that going on, isn't there?
They did a deal with the Oxford Theatre. And I said, can you get us a couple of tickets for ABBA, the ABBA show at the Oxford Theatre over Christmas? Because they were doing a sponsorship with us. It took him 4 or 5 weeks to come back and say, I couldn't get any tickets. It's like, right, well, that's a great deal you've signed up there. You can't get 2 tickets in the balcony for your breakfast host. Okay, all right. Well, that's fair enough. Blacking something.
It's also the fact that the theatre didn't see that would be great, because that would have been the subject of a conversation on breakfast, right?
Yeah. Oh, and 3 times we were told, right, tomorrow the cast of ABBA are coming in. 3 times. Never showed up. They were supposed to be coming in for my last show, and I said, that was the 3rd time. So if they turn up, they're not coming in for that. 3 times, and no one phoned up to say, oh no, they won't be coming in. That was the relationship that Steve had got with the theatre, and he put on a show there with Dom Jolly. I like Dom a lot, nice guy. I'm intimidated by him, but I'm intimidated by posh, successful men anyway. And he put on this show.
So you hang out with a common, unsuccessful northern woman.
Exactly. And I think the theatre holds like 800. I got to see the ticket plan. They'd sold about 40. And he wanted me to do a show. And I said, I don't do live shows. I haven't got an act. He said, we can book the theatre. It's 800, 1,000 seater. I don't know what it is. They absconded. Thank you, Joe. They were meant to come. Maybe it was your last show then. I don't know. Anyway, they weren't to come 3 times. And I said, and I know what my draw is, right? Luton, we struggle to sell 100 tickets at Luton. And I don't want to play in a 1,000-seater theatre with 50 people. And I said, I haven't got a live show. And then we did the Luton show. And we came back in the new year, and he was talking about the show again. And he said, of course, he mentioned it. And I said, I haven't got an act. He said, yeah, that's what I thought until you did your show in Luton. I said, no, but that's not an act. That's me and Katherine. That is separate from this. You're not
That's
getting a
me and
penny of
Katherine
that.
brackets, who you were not interested in.
Yeah. That is, that, and that is not an act. What else? It was just awful. I was so unhappy there. I was not
But do you know
particularly happy.
what?
And
Useful.
then they got rid of Will, and it was like, this is
But it was useful,
impossible.
right? Because it just proved to you everything you thought.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful for it because it has shown me I don't want to work in radio anymore. And this is where I am. And this is where I am. I'm working full-time as a counsellor, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I wanted 11 clients. I've got 13. I am happy. I'm working under, I ain't making no money, money's still not great, but I'm happy. I'm having a great time. I'm so much happier doing it, doing that and being in control and, doing the odd thing. Next week, I'm doing the Ellis James, John, this is the other guy's name, John, Ellis James and John. Someone will put it in the chat. I'm doing their podcast. John Robbins, thank you. Yes, very, very funny. Both very, very funny men. I'm doing their podcast. I'm going to start seeing a counsellor next week for a couple of months because I'm having a real existential crisis. Death is really. It's not just George. It's been kind of happening since Christmas. But I'm having a real existential thing, and I'm worrying and terrified for the first time, really, about dying. It's hit me. I'm going to die, and my kids are going to die, and you're going to die, Katherine. And it's terrifying me. I think it's partly approaching 50. I think it is a lot of it is to do with Lena, and we'll talk about the funeral in a minute. Will says we made the best of a bad situation. Oh my God! When the show was going well, Will. Chef's kiss. It was absolutely brilliant. When you were there, it was brilliant. When you went, it was just me and Joe doing hurdle because I couldn't think of anything. So I'm starting seeing a counsellor on Monday, and I'm really struggling with the thought of death. It's an existential. I guess you'd call it a crisis. I suppose that's a good enough word. We kind of all know what we mean by that, and I know it will pass. I just need to talk through with someone who can see things from a slightly different angle. And this counsellor has been recommended to me by my supervisor. I'm really looking forward to meeting her. It's going to be face to face. I didn't want it on Zoom, and just kind of working through it, really, because I'm terrified. I'm petrified. Hey Nelly, petrified at the moment. Pete says, I used to work at a radio station with a potential 300 million listeners. We had a competition to win a Ford Escort Cabriolet, not one entry, and it turned out they didn't have a car to give away anyway, so we had to pretend there was a winner. Graham says, there was a definite shift when I turned 50. My late dad had his first heart attack at 49 and died at 69. Joe, how old was Dad when he had a heart attack? He's probably about my age. I mean, he smoked 80 cigarettes a day and was massively overweight. Oh, it's Dan. I went through a horrible patch. 52 was he? With that, when my dad passed, my therapist was incredible. I'm rationalising my thoughts on it. Hope it passes soon. Odie says, just had my 50-year-old MOT. Worst thing that happened was the doctor spilt the urine sample on the desk. And this, so yeah, I'm terrified of death at the moment, and I look very calm, but I will just suddenly just burst into tears, thinking, "Oh my God, my boys are gonna die." I get emotional now, which is, yeah, they are, and everyone is, and I just need to kind of talk about it and bring it back into the present. But it's scaring me a lot. Want to talk about Leno's funeral?
Yeah, go on then.
There's some funny bits in it.
It was really beautiful. So it was an early start for us, and we went over to pick up Scott Balcony, which is always a joy, even on a sad day.
On, so I'm listening, but I'm going to be typing some stuff as well.
Even on a sad day. And as soon as that little fellow was in the back seat,
all right, Mary Poppins, you have to keep an eye on him, keep your hands on your pockets, because he likes to pick a pocket or two, doesn't
He's a
he?
scallywag. He can't help himself. He's a joy. He's an absolute joy.
Lovely.
So so we went on and we got there super, super early because I'm always late. So Ian always lies to me about what time we have to be out. And on this occasion, I was on time. But also we were anticipating bad traffic,
I
weren't
was
we?
being hyper cautious with the time because when I checked the timings at night, it was 20 minutes to Scott, 20 minutes to Wembley. When I checked them in the morning, it was like 50 and 50. So I just wanted to. Because Joe, my sister, had never met Scott before. We had this conversation on the way
Hmm.
home. We never met Scott. Never met Scott Balcony. Sorry, I
But it was
interrupted,
one of the,
Karen.
but one of the, it's one of those situations, Joe, where neither of you could quite remember whether you'd met before because you kind of know well, you know each other. You
Yeah.
know each other through Twitter and through Ian and stuff. And so to actually meet in person for the first time, it felt a bit sort of strange and special and wonderful and you're both very familiar with each other, so it was great. Anyway, so it was lovely to see everyone get back together. And we got there early, so we had the debate as to whether we go and hang outside the church for an hour or sit in the car. And of course, I'm with two introverts, so we sat in the car.
Oh, excuse me. Who
Mhm.
who went round talking to everybody?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was incredible. But you, we were biding our time. We didn't
We
want to be
got to
standing
meet
out
the
there
lovely,
for an
lovely
hour. It was
Victoria,
freezing.
lovely Victoria and lovely Mark, who
Hmm.
I had been communicating with, and they'd been arranging going to visit him and the funeral and stuff like that. They were wonderful human beings. Three of his
Lino's aunties,
Italian
yeah.
family were there, two of whom didn't speak any English. One, I thought her English was really good. She was saying she didn't speak English, but the fact that we could understand her saying she didn't speak English.
Hmm.
A lovely old lady who she was delightful. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, and she appreciated you. You were so kind to her. I was really touched by that, the fact that you went over and you had a really long chat with someone, both of you, not quite understanding each other, but understanding each other
I had a
because,
long chat, and then afterwards she was crying, and I thought I should really go and give her a little hug, shouldn't I?
yeah.
Simple things to do that can help. Roman Catholic funeral. I don't have much. I've not much experience with the Roman Catholic faith.
Well,
Oh,
I
well,
do.
there was a lot of things that we weren't allowed to do. Right? He wanted. I gave the eulogy. He wanted a script, and I was like, I'm going to wing it. I typed up something. They wanted to play Both Sides Now, a cover of the Joni Mitchell song by one of Lino's friends. Weren't allowed to do that. We couldn't carry the coffin in because the door wasn't high enough. And actually, thank God, because we did lift it a couple of times. Bloody, he was a big lad. The undertaker said, well, what you can do, pallbearers, is you can walk by the side of the coffin. We'll push it, but you can hold the handles and be part of that.
It's on
And
a trolley. They weren't scooting it along the
yeah,
floor.
on a couple of skateboards. And the vicar said, no. Is it a vicar if it's Catholic?
No, it's the priest.
The priest said no.
The
So Mark
thing
came and
is,
said, the priest isn't keen. I said, well, what do you think, Mark? He said, well, Lino would want you to do it, so we're going to do it.
I'm pretty sure there are priests who are not as traditional as this fella. It did seem very conservative, with a small c, the way he was conducting that ceremony. It was, it was all liturgy. It was all about Lino's. At one point, he said it out loud, didn't he? This is about Lino's relationship with God, not necessarily
Yeah,
his relationship with us.
yeah,
And that said it all to me. That's why he wasn't interested in personalizing it all, because it was not about us and us. Generally, I've only ever been to sort of Church of England funerals before, but my mate in Spain is obviously, she's Catholic. So I've sat through quite a lot of Catholic church ceremonies. And I just feel like with the ceremonies I've been to, humanist ones and Church of England ones, there is always an attempt to personalize it a little bit because it's about comforting those that are left behind. There was none of that. There was none of that, was there? Not even a tiny bit.
no.
So when he was done with the belts and braces stuff, you were allowed to go up and speak, and it was for me it was the best part of the
Oh,
day.
I got really nervous and I kind of froze, which is very, very unusual. And I had this bit of paper where I typed the script and I thought, well, I can use that as notes, but I couldn't read it. It was too small. I should have printed it big, and I forgot. It was I felt I could have delivered it better, but apparently it did the job. So that was the church, and then we went to a graveyard about 20 minutes away. And then we did lift the coffin. It was heavy. I have never been to a burial. Been to a couple of cremations, 3 cremations. I've never been to a burial. Oh, Joe says you were the best bit, apart from when the priest started singing. The priest started singing on his own, and it was incredible, right?
Right, and I was right at the far end of the pews, so I could hear
pubes.
All of a sudden, I could hear there'd been some sort of.
Oh no, we've lost you, Catherine.
We've lost Catherine. Singing, and there was an immediate reaction from the other end of the pew.
Catherine, we've lost you. We've lost you. Stop. Come back. We've lost you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Are you reading me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a 5-second delay.
I'm going to leave and come.
So the priest started singing, and me and Scott, we were kneeling. There was a bit where we were asked to kneel, and I like all of the, I like all of that stuff. Don't, Claudia, just sit down, darling. Patty has been very clingy since George died. Very clingy. Will not leave my side, and she sleeps here. And Lucky, who was never that affectionate, Lucky sleeps here now. Every night. You never really see Lucky, and she sleeps there. It's all changed. And so Scott was next to me, and I thought he was laughing. So I nudged him. Then we sat up, and then I said, Scott, were you laughing or crying? And he went, I was crying. And I was like, oh, shoot. So I put my hand on his knee, and I rubbed his knee. And I put my arm around him and said, come on, man, you're doing really well. And then later on, he just said, oh, I was laughing. I said, I thought you said you were crying. Had my arm around you. He said, no, I was laughing at his singing. Anyway, Go on, Catherine, you're back.
No, that's what I was trying to say. So the singing start, I say singing, it was yeah. It was an interesting, for someone who obviously enjoyed performance. Anyway, it was a performance.
Crunchy, were you there? Sorry, were you there? Go on.
He started singing, and then from the other end of the, you've already covered this, but the other end of the pew, there was like this, and I thought, oh God, someone's really upset. And then it started to pass along, and then I looked to the side of me and realised it was laughter. It was stifled laughter from 3 over 40-year-olds.
Emmy is here. We'll come. Did you leave the card that Emmy made, or have you still got it in your bag?
It may still be in my bag, actually.
Would you be able to show it? Because I wanted to tweet it, but I didn't have it.
1 second.
Emmy is part. We're kind of jumping all over the place, but it's part of the Stephen Page community. And Lena was a huge part of that. And I'm not going to get to see Stephen's 100th live from home, because I'm off to see the Surrey Scorchers, who I love. But I met Emmy afterwards in the wake, the pub that we were all in. And I went, it's not my natural thing to go up to people, but Mark said, oh, there's some people from Stephen Page there. And I went, oh, okay, I'll go and say hello. And there was Disco Stew, and then Emmy came out and she said, oh, I've got a present for you, but it might upset you, and I'm really sorry if it does. And she handed me a card. I'm not going to cry. And I opened it, and I just started sobbing. Catherine, do you want to show them?
How lovely is that?
That's my little boy.
It's so beautiful.
That's not just a drawing of my little boy.
That's him.
Is my little boy. That is my little boy. I can't look at him now. And Crunchy Frog did that, and I just burst into tears. I was totally done in, and I hugged her about 5 times. I'm sorry about that, and I just thought, wow, someone took the time to do that. And it's not like, oh, you did a drawing of that. It's spot on, and I've paid Vamped Tees is going to do like a painting of George for me, like she did with Velvet, and they're going to go side by side. But that is absolutely magical. That is going to get framed. That is probably going to go in my bedroom, I would imagine, possibly on the fireplace. I want to find a nice place for it. And so that was thank you. Emmy says, it helped me to process to draw it. It's 7 years since my dad died today. Oh no, and a very griefy time. And I know that love for pets is real. I fear losing my pug. Yeah, the anniversaries can be very, very tough. And I hope you are able to look after yourself today. I hope you're okay, is what I'm trying to say. I hope you're okay. Those I didn't remember for a long time, and I would get a text from either my sister or my friend Simon, whose dad died like 25 years before, but on the same day. And I would just forget, and then I get a text going, oh, shit, it's today. And now I've got it in, well, it's in my Google Diary as Dad's death, which is not the most. Emmy, it was so lovely to meet you, and Stu, and that generosity in the time it took to make that, and that's a very special gift. That's a very special gift that is going to live there, and the kindness. So thank you. Back to the burial. That was a thing. I've never been to a burial. Have you?
Yeah.
Weird, didn't they?
It had the first one I ever saw had a very deep effect on me. And it was one of those things where it was on my shoulder for quite a long time afterwards.
Yeah.
And it wasn't someone I was massively close to. It was my friend's boyfriend. And he died quite suddenly. And I just remember that feeling of leaving the coffin there. And this wasn't someone who had been, as I say, massively close to, but I kept thinking of him there on his own.
That's what Scott was saying on the way
Yeah.
home. He said, I feel really terrible that we've just left him there on his own.
I think it's because
That's interesting.
all the attention and all the thought up until that moment is about them and looking after them, right? And you have you're waiting for them at the church, you see them through it, you're there with them, you say goodbye to them, and then they're on their own, It's the strangest thing. It's the strangest thing. And, to the point where afterwards, for the week or so afterwards, every time it rained, I thought, oh, poor lad, he's out there in the rain. And I knew that that's not logical, but that's the way I thought. So I get it. Scott is exactly the same place that I was.
So the people who were going to be pallbearers were allowed to take the coffin out of the hearse, put it on sort of these rods so that you could then we had to run the
Straps.
Thank you. Straps through the handles. Don't wrap it. He kept saying, don't wrap it around your hand. You've got to lift it. And so the grave is there and the coffin's there, but it's the wrong way round. So we had to lift it. Fucking hell, it was heavy. And we had to turn it round, and the priest is stood there, and the whole time I'm going, fucking hell, and everyone's pissing themselves. I said, I'm so sorry, fucking hell. And then we managed to turn it round, and then then one of the undertakers, this old guy, he was kind of doing the lifting. I just happened to be holding the strap as well. He was doing the lifting, lowering a coffin. This is a deep hole. Lowering a coffin into a grave is really, really, really tough. Really tough. Incredibly tough, and then there was like a bar. Oh, hang on, I've lost you. Sorry. Then there was like a bar like a bar to keep the hole open, and it was tough. Then we scattered some earth. Roscoe says, remember having to lower my granddad's coffin at his burial. Seen so many on film around the grave, raining, minister, lowering ropes, throwing dirt, flowers. Never seen the part where everyone walks away and leaves the dead. That's the moment.
That's the bit, isn't it?
And then we were allowed to play the audio of the recording of Lena's friend. I cannot remember her name. Evelyn, I think. And then, you won't hear this, Catherine, but we were allowed to play on a big speaker in the middle of a huge, massive cemetery. We were allowed to play this.
When you say allowed, no one stopped us.
we played the Tetris music. Evelyn Hoskins was the name. We played the Tetris music, and there was some old woman not that far away from us with some flowers, obviously visiting a grave. And we're thinking, well, she's probably not going to recognise it's Tetris, although she would probably have been about 40 when it came out, so maybe she does. But it was loud. Anyone who was in that cemetery would have heard it booming. It's funny. It was a funny way to end
A heavy day.
a really heavy day. Took my sister back to the train station. We went to the wake, where Scott wouldn't eat any of the sandwiches because he can't do sandwiches. He can only do sausage rolls, and there weren't any sausage rolls.
He said it was too elaborate.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? He's a weirdo. And we stayed there an hour, maybe. I made a point of talking to people, which I don't normally do. There was a table I didn't speak to, and I wish I had gone and said hello to them. No, don't do that, Pat. And then we went home, and I was absolutely done in. I got home about 4:30, and I went to bed. And I got up about 7, had some food, and went back to bed. I was so tired. I was so drained. Busy week with Georgie Boy as well, and busy, emotional week. And the funeral was kind of like a full stop on. God, the Lino situation's been going on for 2.5 months, so it was kind of a full stop. I was able to release that had been going on for a while. I was able to release that, and it was exhausting.
Yeah, I kind of realised when we were at the wake that I had not had a vision of this week or anything beyond that day for about a month.
Yeah.
When you get to the point where you go, oh, well, that's done. Okay, so tomorrow there's nothing else to.
No.
It wasn't like I was dreading it, but it is a big old bookend, isn't it?
No.
People say funerals are awful. I actually think they're very helpful.
Well, that was the problem with lockdown, is that people were denied the ritual of saying goodbye to their loved one in a formal, whatever way you did it, whether it's religious or it's non-religious. There is, Christian or Muslim or whatever. There is a pattern that they follow that we are accustomed to, and there is a reason they follow those patterns, because it's a way of not getting over it, but it's a way of saying goodbye, and that part you then move on to the next part. Very clumsy language and not completely accurate, but there's a reason why we gather together as people to say goodbye to the dead.
When it's been someone close to me, I have felt like the time between the death and the funeral is like a moment where you're holding your breath almost. You're in a sort of state of limbo. You're not quite. And by the time the funeral comes, it's a relief and a release. But then, when it's someone you're close to, then everyone goes back to normal, don't they? And you're left there going, okay, so this is when it gets really hard because people aren't being careful and mindful, and I'm supposed to crack on now and rebuild.
Lulu says that was what was heartbreaking for us. So few people at Mum's when she'd done so much in her life for others. Yeah. There's poor people that had to have funerals during COVID. Gosh, there'll be a lot of unresolved trauma around that. Jim says, I know people who love a wake and please for people who feel better because of one. For me, I've always hated dressing up formally to be sad. I get it. I looked hot in a dark suit. I'm going to be honest. I looked hot in a dark suit.
So thanks, Lino, from everyone in the world.
Well, the good thing of that was this. I thought I put off trying the suit on because I thought I ain't going to fit into the trousers. I'm going to have to do the thing where you have the button that does it up. You kind of go to the next button and you just cover it with a belt. Put the suit on the night before. Chef's kiss. Fitted. I looked hot. Black tie. New black tie. I found a black tie today, but new black tie. 20 quid for a tie. Katherine, I look good, right?
Yes, you look very dapper.
Thank you. And you did with your utility. You had like a bat utility belt.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to accessorise, haven't you?
Hot and modest, says Gatford.
Exactly. I think the reason why I find funerals reassuring is because when my granddad died, and that was the first person who was close to me, I wasn't in the country and I didn't go to the funeral.
Right, okay.
And so I don't think I really believed he was dead for a long time, to the point where when I finally actually saw his grave, I was right back at the beginning again. It was still really raw, burst into tears, couldn't, and it was, if you don't see someone from 1 month to the next, you can trick yourself that they're still alive, right? And I think there was an element of that going on. So I do find it reassuring to just anchor myself. I said anchor myself in reality a bit.
David says, happy for you, Ian. Thank you. Professor Rint says, no funeral for me. Just throw me in a skip. But supposing a kid walks past and looks in the skip, and there's Professor Rintz's corpse. I like to have a little look in the skip, see what I can see in the records. So it was. As funerals go, it was a good funeral. I mean, it was. I found the Catholic stuff fascinating. I went up and got blessed. You have to do that if you're not a Catholic. I got blessed. I always like a bit of that. I found it fascinating. I found it really interesting. Everyone, the priest was the bad guy because he said no to all of this. You need a bad guy in a story. He was the bad guy.
He'll see himself as the protector.
Yeah. David says, I'm genuinely asked Joe to take my ashes down the local dump. Yeah. We're going to get George's ashes. We're going to sit with them for a little bit. He's going to sit next to Velvet, and then me and the boys are going to scatter them in the garden if they feel up to it. Yeah, it was, it was a good old funeral.
Yeah.
It was nice turnout, nice wake, nice people. Graham says, my dad's funeral, they were supposed to play 3 different country songs. He was a fan, but pressed repeat by mistake, and the same Alan Jackson song played multiple times while everyone was coming in. Folks started laughing the 7th time. Crunchy says, thinking about it, I could hear you saying amen, and the tone was very much like someone saying, of course. Amen. Amen. Oh, yeah, it is. I do say, amen. Of course. Amen. Amen.
Did you see what Gatford said? It reminded us of one of the conversations in the car. Gatford says, I'm paying a company to hire a stunning singer to turn up at my funeral to sing Nobody Does It Better and then just leave. We were talking about having me wrap my scarf around my head, put the sunglasses on and stand away from the crowd.
Hiding, peering around it from a tree.
You need a mysterious
who's
veiled
that lady
woman
over there? She jumps in a limousine and drives off. Did someone in your row ask if we get wine? No, because it was idiots in my row. It was Scott, my sister, and Katherine.
I didn't want it. He'd sticking water in it. Did you not notice?
Well, did you see him cane that wine?
Yeah, and also
he caned it.
He necked the heavenly host like it was a poppadom. Yeah. He was like,
it was a good old day. It was a good old day, and it was a lovely funeral, not taking away from the sadness of him dying, and we heard some lovely stories about him. It was a good old day. Met some lovely people. Met Crunchy. It was a lovely day.
We're going to say it, even though this is what people always say when they've had an encounter like this with a brush with death. If you're thinking of that friend and you think you're going to catch up with them at some point, you'll definitely give them a ring at some point. Just send them a message today. Just send them a message. Even if you can't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Do it now because we all think we've got forever and we don't.
Katherine, do you want to read the comments from... Why do I get dumb producers all the time? Do you want to read the last 2 comments from Will Taylor?
Wait, you actually get wine at church? I always thought that was like an urban legend.
It's the blood of Christ, mate. It's the blood of Christ. And you have like a dry wafer, which is his body. It's the blood of Christ. Will Taylor, 1410.
It's not like a Casillera de Diablo or something. It's thin as.
David says, might die tomorrow. Call me now. No, it's not the real blood of Christ, mate. Jesus.
No, he does a prayer over it. In fact, the way that this priest was doing the prayer. Transference, yeah.
No. It's transmogrification. There's a word for it. There's a word for the blood of. Someone will tell me. What's burning?
Transubstantiation.
Transubstantiation,
yes. But did you see the way he was doing it? I've never seen it done like that before. He was like whispering to the cup, like he was doing a magic trick. He was whispering to it sometimes. But yeah, all I was focusing on was the fact he was watering that bad boy right down. And just a good job too, because he only had to do about three different. He only had to do about three faithful, and then he necked the rest.
That's not very hygienic. It's well.
God will take care of it. They've been doing it like that for years.
So yeah, so I lived a bit. The band. Some of you may have even come to see the band Boomhauer X when I was in a band. Rock songs, a couple of originals, mainly covers. Played
Scotch
in
Sucker,
Japanese.
yes, they rang the bell.
They did ring the bell, yeah.
Time, please.
Sophie says, I know some AAs who still drink the wine at Mass. Each to their own. Song sung in Japanese with a horn section. The band is getting back together. We're going to be singing in English because she don't know Japanese and she's the singer now. And I had a lovely lunch with my friends Matt and Spencer, who we haven't played together for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years, I don't know. And I had a really dumb idea last year. Guys, would you ever want to do it again? And they both went, yeah. And so we had lunch at the weekend in Watford. And the band is getting back together. My Rickenbacker bass that I sold to David G. Arnold a year and a half ago, I got in touch and said, tell you where the bass thing came from. I was at Katherine's and we were watching Top of the Pops 2 and it was 1983 and all of the bands, the bass players had Rickies. And I went, oh, fuck, I really... And it was like 2 days after George had died, so I was not in a clear... I went, oh, I really love that Ricky back. Miss it. I want it back. The Ricky back. And I got in touch with David Jarno. I said, you did mention that I could buy it back, and I just wondered. He's a proper film composer. And he went, yeah, no problem. I've done it up a bit. I've put new strings on. I've changed the action. I've fixed it. It sounds great. I said, right, how much do you want for it? He said, whatever I paid for it. And this was all done at night, and I went, okay. This is 2 days after George died, or 3, and I went, okay, right, fine. No, it was. I tell you, it was the Thursday that we were going to do a show, and we didn't. And David Arnold did the Bond stuff, and so from the space of watching Top of the Pops 2 at 7:00 to 11:00, I had told him I was going to buy the bass off him for 1,565 quid, and then the next morning I woke up and went, what the fudge did I do that? I haven't got that money. So I messaged him and said, look, David, if I'm honest, I don't think I can afford it, actually. I sold it, that and the Monkeys Gretsch to go some way towards Japan. He said, you don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay, amounts as and when. Oh, you can pay it, you can break it down. I went, okay, how about I paid this over a period of 5 months? He said, yeah, that's fine. But if you run into trouble, you can take a break. What a nice man.
He just wanted to look after it for you, didn't he?
He did. So I'm going, he works at Air Studios, so I'm going next Friday, 11:00, Air Studios, and he's going to be there, and he's going to show me around Air Studios, which I'm very, very excited about. It used to be owned by George Martin. And I'm very excited about that, and I'm getting my Rickenbacker back, and I'm paying for it. He's not told you the interest rate yet, says Dave. So I'm paying for it over several months. It's dumb, It's not a sensible thing at all. But actually, I want it back. Now I'm thinking about the Monkeys Gretsch, but I don't want that. I was glad to get rid of that. Although I did look them up on eBay the other day. Lovely bloke, says David. Block him the moment you get the bass in your hands. Yeah. Mr. Lee, no live here no more. And so, I'm very, very excited. So next Friday. And so the band is getting back together. So I need to send some, in fact, let me write that down. I need to send some band dates for Matt and Spence to come over here, and you, Katherine. Matt has also got me a drum kit. I'm going to pick up a drum kit in the next week or two, and I'm going to set it up in that room, and I'm going to learn to play the drums. My house is a mess at the moment, and you know what? I love it. I'm having clear out. I've got 2 big bookcases next door, and my plan is to get rid of half of the books so I can have one big bookcase and a small book. I'm just taking a load of books, and there's all these books, and I pull them out of the shelf, and I go, oh, I'd like to read that. I've had that Wilson Pickett book for 6 years. I ain't going to read it.
No.
And I keep saying to myself, right, go and get 5 books. And I go in there and I find 5 books. Anyway.
I had put some books on one side and they've been sitting near the door for ages. So I'm thinking, I must get rid of them. I must get rid of them. But maybe I shouldn't get rid of them. I've not read them. And there's been that moment. One of the cats has peed on them now. So
get rid of them.
Problem solved.
It's so
Nature finds a way.
It's so freeing. I'm enjoying having my house a mess. Books on the floor in there. There's going to be a drum kit. Anyway, so we're going to come over. We're going to have a little rehearsal, work through some songs. And yeah, the plan is to do a couple of live gigs in the summer. Katherine, Sophie's asking about your job.
Oh my goodness. Right. So this is the lecturing job. I was brought in last minute because someone had dropped out. And when I arrived, it's my old journalism college. So it's got a good reputation. And so I was thrilled to bits and I went and had a look around and I said, yeah, I'm definitely in. The boss, big boss, not my boss, virtually leapt over the desk and hugged me when she saw me walk in. I thought, haha, what's going on? What's going on here? And it was only ever supposed to be like a 5-week cover shift. And it turns out now they're begging me not to leave. So I'm in, I think. I think I'm in. I sit in a staff room during my breaks.
Smoking fags and drinking Nescafe.
Smoking fags and smoking a pipe actually and drinking very strong coffee. And then I go and breathe over everyone. But it's hilarious. I walked into work the other day and I thought, oh, this look I'm wearing, it's very Alan Bennett. So yeah, I'm a college lecturer now, kids. Stand back in amazement. But the thing is, I'm also there with the other guy who was on my course, who I've known for years and years. There was 4 of us on my course, and we were all warned various times that we were about to fail. That seemed to be the encouragement back then: is that you're going to you're on course to fail. So the first day when I went in there, he's doing the TV side of things, and I'm doing the audio. It's not just radio anymore; it's podcasting as well. And we took a victory picture of ourselves in the corridor, giving it the old foxes in the hen house. But yeah, it's great. So yeah, on Monday I looked down at myself and I was wearing like this camel coat. Hang on.
Did it have leather patches? People are asking.
No, it didn't. I was wearing tweed trousers, baggy tweed trousers, and a Fair Isle tank top. So it was pretty Alan Bennett. But it's exciting. And the first week I was very nervous and I realised that I'd used half of my material in the first half hour because I was speaking at such a pace and my voice started to get very dry and everything. And I thought I was losing the room. But after that moment, it we got to the point where I'd done all the important bits and then it was just about helping them learn how to edit, record and download and edit their audio. And that's the stuff I know back to front. So it's great. I really enjoyed it. You know, there are some kids there who aren't that bothered about it because it's just part of their degree. They're in the first year. You remember what it was like first year at university. You didn't take things massively seriously, although this is quite important because this is like the fundamentals of like editing. And if you don't know it, you're kind of screwed. But there are some kids there that are really into it. And you kind of understand that that's the part that makes it rewarding, you know, when you see a kid all lit up and excited about the possibilities. And that's the thing about audio. And this is what I keep saying to them. I said, I know TV and all the visual stuff seems really sexy, but you need a few of you to do that. With this, you think of it, you could make it in a day and you could take it wherever you want. Anyway, here endeth the sermon. I'm quite enjoying it. Yeah, it's all right.
A lot of nice comments. Julie says, fantastic, how exciting. It's Dan. Oh, man, absolutely buzzing for you. Nina, this is great to hear. Lulu Squish says, a beret. Graham says, horn-dimmed glasses. David says, students have killed the last 4 lecturers.
I think there's something's gone on there. They seem very pleased to see me, put it that way. And they keep checking that I am going to come back.
Well
I think it
done,
is different.
Kay, says Alistair.
Thank you. I do think that I do think it's different. I think that this lot of students, they're lockdown babies. So the way they interact is different from the way we were. There seems to be a lot less pub going than when I was there. And I don't know, they're more clients than minions like we were. We were constantly under threat of being kicked out, the shame of being kicked out and having to explain it to your parents. But so there is a subtle shift, but the fundamentals are the same. You get kids that are all excited about it and it makes you feel nice that you're passing something on and doing something constructive. And yet, and you're right, Lulu, it's being part of something that could change someone's life. That sounds grand, but that's true, right? Get that one.
I've just got your WhatsApp. The picture.
Show them.
Catherine's just WhatsApped me, or earlier, saying, finally, a nice picture of us.
I found this brilliant Twitter account called, I think it's called Advanced Style, and it's all old people who are snappy dressers. It's quite eccentric dresses. It just cheers me up. But oh, hush, I'll ask my daughter to keep an eye out for you. She's doing an MA in creative writing. Well, tell her to keep her eye out for Alan Bennett in a frog.
Some kid down the line is going to be having a conversation on a podcast talking about how great their old teacher was, says Dan, and I think he's talking about you.
Less of the old, but thanks very much.
Wood says, how great to see you guys again. Do you do any phone-ins on here still? What an excellent question. We pop up on Twitch normally once a month, or 2 shows a month. And then the rest of the time, we are behind a paywall on Patreon. Let's get the Patreon link in the chat. If you're listening to the podcast, it's patreon.com/Iain and Katherine, patreon.com/IAIN and Katherine with a K. For $4.99 a month plus VAT, even with the VAT, that's the price of 2 coffees at Costa or Starbucks. $4.99 a month, you get access to, generally, we took time off when George died because I just couldn't do a show and things. Generally, you get 2 shows a week live on YouTube between 7 and 9:30, 10, depending how it's going. And you can watch those shows live and take part. You can watch them back again at your leisure, or they arrive on your telephone as a podcast, and you can listen to them. There is a back catalogue of about 350 videos and podcasts, which works out, so it's 369, it's about 2,000 hours of material combined in the video and the audio. That's nuts, actually.
Yeah, we don't half go on.
It's about 2,000 hours. If you want to, I'm addressing people who are listening to the free podcast. Hello, Pats. We'll put this whole one out as a free one, I think, Katherine. And the people in the Twitch. So patreon.com/Iain and Katherine. And Quiet Bloke says, you don't have to pay with your coffee money. I pay with my cake money, which is absolutely fine to do. There are other tiers. You can just give us £2. Don't get anything for it. You just get the warm feeling inside that you have helped 2 of Britain's greatest broadcasters continue the legacy. Some people go for the £15 a month. What do you get for that? Well, you get invited to 2, generally, minimum of 1, but generally 2 Zoom meetings a month. Not a show. There's just a Zoom meeting. We get about 10, 15 people come generally, sometimes a bit more. And we just hang out for an hour. We chat. You can ask us stuff. It's a little bit more relaxed and personal than this. You can have your camera turned off. You can have your mic turned off. If you don't want to be part of it, you just want to watch, you can do that. I think we're doing one on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I think we said 11 in the email. Can we do it at 10?
I can do it at 10.
Let's do it at 10. So 10 o'clock Saturday. In fact, oh no, I can't do the Zoom link because we're doing this. I will send the Zoom link tomorrow. So
sorry that my screen is wibbling. There's a cat behind it having a wash, and she is quite thorough.
So, and this is our part of our job. I know Katherine is teaching. She ain't getting rich on teaching,
Not
so
yet.
It's 1 day a week, so the teaching. So that combined with the Patreon. That's the mortgage and the kids fed. I'm doing counselling. I am a counsellor now, and the Patreon. If I was doing the counselling on its own, I would, still be. I'd be breaking about even. Actually, spending still a bit more than I'm earning. Not extravagant stuff. I'm talking mortgage. I'm talking kids. I'm talking ex-wife. That kind of stuff. But with the Patreon. It's actually it's all right. Yeah. It's all right. Plus, so your Patreon is it's not like us going off and buying caviar and cigars with it. It is part of what allows us to work. It is.
And I was going to say, actually, now that we're not on the radio anymore, neither of us, I find that these shows are more fun. Better. I've got more to tell you.
They're
generally,
so much better, aren't they?
We're out having. I don't know whether you've heard of this, but there's a thing called a life And finally, we are having them.
Yeah.
And it's quite refreshing, isn't it, Ian?
The shows are so now I'm not doing 5 radio shows a week. This is so much more fun, and the shows are so much better. And I'm not so tired. You know, I'm working 3 days a week with the counselling. I'm not so tired. And yeah, I've not spaffed 15 hours worth of 15 hours worth of material before we even get here.
I tell you what the difference is that I'm not having moments where I think I've not done anything other than work. What on earth am I going to tell them? I'm not having those moments because, I'm doing things independently of this. And so I've got things to tell you about, other sides of life. It's great. Hey, I started watching that new Paula Yates documentary yesterday.
Sorry, Will has just said, weird because you used to stroll into the studio at Jack with cigars and caviar shouting, thanks, Patreons. Go on, Paula Wilcox.
Yeah, the Paula Yates
Paula
documentary.
Yates,
it's on all 4. It's on all 4. Tell you something, I don't think I took her as seriously as she deserved to be taken. And that's probably a response to the fact that my parents are quite conservative, certainly my dad, and didn't appreciate her. And so I didn't realise how good she was.
I remember doing jokes about her and Michael Hutchence on the 11 o'clock show, and while I was out filming some stuff in Oxford Street for the Christmas special, I was holding a lot of parcels. Bob Geldof walked past, and I thought, oh shit, he's going to have a go at me for making jokes about his ex-wife. And he didn't. He just looked at me and went, and walked on.
She put up with a lot of shit. There's a bit where she's on Have I Got News for You? And,
that's awful. I saw that bit.
And they're being vile to her.
Yeah. I watched a bit of it, and then I just saw Vanessa Feltz talking. I thought, it's a bit more talking heady than I would like it to be. I struggle with watching those. I struggle with telly at the moment.
Yeah.
Sophie says, I went to a fancy dress show as Paula Yates once. People thought I'd come as Myra Hindley. Okay. You have got me addicted to Married at First Sight Australia.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Stroke brilliant.
Yeah. I do hate you for it because I'm now waiting for the next episode to drop.
I hate myself for it. And yet I'm in now. I might as well crack on. Just the fact that, just if you haven't seen it, people are getting married and they've been set up by committee, basically. They marry each other, and that's the first time they see each other, and then they have to get to know each other afterwards. And it's kind of this apparently scientific approach to relationships, but actually what it is an absolute bun fight. And just to give you an example, there's a couple.
But sorry, Berg says, have any of them ended up getting married for real?
Yes.
They get married for real?
No, they don't.
Is it not a real wedding?
No.
What the? So they're not married at first sight?
They're not really. And at the end,
at
the very end, they decide whether they want to stay together or not. And so, yes, some of them have. From last year's English one, they have gotten married, I believe. They've certainly got a baby. And that was an example of a lad who had not had a relationship before and a woman who'd had loads of really rubbish ones.
They don't get married.
They're not legally married, but they have to treat that. The experiment is that they have to treat it as such.
Well, I'm not, right. Berg, you're very close to getting timed out for telling me that. I'm not watching it anymore. So it's basically meet at first sight.
You say you're not watching it anymore. You're totally watching it.
What a load of old shite.
The couple that got Iain hooked, right?
An older woman.
Yes.
Just the horn dog.
She's just like, when all the women meet up at the first and all the men meet up separately, and they talk about what they're expecting, and the younger women are sort of talking about how the intimacy thing might be quite challenging when you don't know someone, and God, you're not going to jump into bed with him on night one. And the older woman's like, yes, I bloody am. Oh, can't wait, it's going to be great. You got to get in there straight away. Anyway, she ends up marrying someone who seems to be very, very the opposite of her, really, isn't he? He's quite conservative, harsh side parting. She wants Thor. She ends up with basically Woody from Toy Story. Indeed, on the wedding night, he wears his Toy Story pants,
PJs.
pajamas.
Yeah.
And the morning after, she gets interviewed by the camera crew, and he gets interviewed first, and it's like, did anything happen? Absolutely not. Nothing happened. Crosses to her. Yeah, we were at it all night.
I was riding Thor's mighty hammer. That's what she says.
Me and Ian are watching it going, why would you lie like that? I mean, she's definitely going to get found out. This is awful. Oh dear, poor love. Why is she leading with this? What is it about her that's, needing to be so overtly like leading with the sex the whole time? Oh, I wonder why she's like that. Anyway, 10 minutes down the line, covert camera footage of them having a conversation. And she says, so did they ask you? Yeah, they asked me. I said we hadn't. Why did you lie? Well, I didn't like to talk about it. Turns out he was lying. She was absolutely truthful.
I'm genuinely disappointed they don't get married. And I will watch this series, but I'm now not bothered about the other series.
Sure, okay.
No. I'm being honestly, I'm totally straight. It's not the show I thought it was. I thought they got married.
They have a big wedding ceremony where all their parents are there.
Yes, so did my pets when I was a kid. But no, I will watch this one. But it's honestly, the sheen has instantly gone off of it for me.
Well, I think in some cases it's a bloody good job they're not really married.
As some of you may know, I bought a television for my bedroom, right? First time in 20 years I've had it, life-changing. After this, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to watch The Apprentice and Dragon's Den. Get me on Dragon's Den in a minute. No, get me on Dragon's Den now. So I've been watching a lot of TV in bed, right? And I've been sleeping terribly since George died. And my head is just spinning round. And I don't really want to sit with my head much. I'm allowed little bits, but I don't want to sit with it much. So I will stay up till like 2:30 in the morning watching old Dragon's Den. And the thing about watching old Dragon's Den, film on Amazon Prime, I've seen that, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The thing about old Dragon's Den from 2018, you can look up and see what happened. Right. NJS Burton says, I just found out there are no real dragons in the den. Are you taking the pee?
I don't think it's been the same since Hilary Devey went.
You can see what happened. So every time the dragons strike a deal, I go and have a little look. Not one of the deals that they struck has gone through. After the show, Peter Jones decided not to invest. After the show, the inventor decided not to work with the dragons.
Well, I thought they had a lot of money to chuck around. If they're investing every week, bloody hell, how much money would you have to have?
Will says it. Dragon's Den apparently a con as well. Only like 5% of the deals ever go through. Exactly. Every single one. No, it didn't happen. Levi Roots, they'll never let her forget that. Tangle Teasers that it didn't invest in, sold for like £140 million. They don't go through. The one that I really like, and I don't know if it was, I think it was an old one. It was an old one. And it was brilliant. So brilliant that 3 years after it aired, I went to their website and almost ordered one. Then I thought, well, let me just check their Twitter feed. Oh, they haven't tweeted for a year. It's a webcam on like a thing. And what it means is you hook it onto the back of the TV, back of the screen, and then this rod comes, and you can lower the webcam. So, because when I'm looking at you, Catherine, I'm looking at you, but it looks like I'm looking down, right? Because my camera is there. Now I'm looking at you, but I can't see you. Yeah. Because you're there.
And I can't see you because I'm trying to look at the camera, so it looks like I'm looking at you.
Yeah. But so it's a webcam that you can hang, and it sits in the middle of the screen. And I would love that for my clients, because with working with clients, I mean, it's not real icon, but I am not looking at my clients. I'm looking at my clients, and that is not great. And I would love that invention. So I went to their web, and the dragons didn't invest because it was a fairly recent one, because Stephen Barclay was talking bullshit about how they're going to put cameras in screens, and they haven't done that. And I emailed them and said, "Is this? Did you make any of these? Because I would love to buy one. Great invention. But the dragons didn't invest. I don't know why there's not something like it. It seems like it just thought it was a brilliant idea. Anyway, so I'm watching a lot.
Because I was going to say, before we move on from that topic, come in very handy. When I was doing a lot of the interviews I had recently when I was trying to get a job in PR.
You said mukbang then, didn't you?
No, marketing, I nearly said.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't marketing, it was PR. I watched a few kind of the art of the interview type videos on YouTube, and a lot of the time they were saying make sure you look at the camera so that you're looking straight at them. The thing is, then you're not having a proper conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
The tempting thing is always to look at yourself and make sure you don't look like a massive idiot. But then you when I was doing interviews, there would like be a minimum of three other
yeah.
people on the screen, and you want to check everyone out at the same time. Looking into a camera, a little pinhole, is just not natural, is it?
Nvidia have
Hate
added,
night.
and I don't really know what Nvidia is. We'll talk about Nvidia have added AI to their webcam software that amends the feed so your eyes always looking at the camera. Right? No, I've seen this because people have started doing it to films. It's hard to explain, so I'm going to show you some. It's
Oh,
nuts.
is it like I got a camera once and it could put a smile on you? Is it like that? Does it just like go over your eyes to make you look like you were looking at the camera the whole time?
Yes.
Could I be asleep, is what I'm saying. Could I have my eyes closed and it would still look like I was looking?
But people have started doing it to movies. So so you'll have like people talking, but then it goes like that, and then but I can't find any.
So everything's like The Office.
Yeah. Can I find any? Because I saw some clips. Lemmy was tweeting about it. And I want to find some clips of movies. If anyone can find any clips of the movies, not Twitch. A load of Twitch streamers have done it. Let me. I'm just going to scroll through Twitter because it will definitely be there. I'm just gonna scroll through Twitter because people were doing it to movies. I'm not gonna find it now, am I? Hold the line. We're in no rush. Let's see Limmy because Limmy was patter thief. Stick up your patter thief arsehole. Not Limmy.
Musique Soul saying they should use it on Charlie in Casualty. He never looks at anyone. And Evan Davis is always looking off camera, isn't he?
Honestly, it take me a minute, but it is worth it. It is worth it. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
I'm just gonna message my daughter to make me a cup of tea.
Please do. If anyone else could help out there and find people who've done it, hold the line, please, caller. Oh, I think the tweets have been deleted with it on. That's annoying. Let me have a little look on YouTube, see if anything comes up. It was all over Twitter the other week. Nvidia.
And Jess Burton, I thought Evan Davis had eye problems. He may do, and in which case it would still be useful, right? I have a little bee in my bonnet about Evan Davis. He's on the Wall of Fame at my old college.
Why?
They've put all the people, the success stories they put on there. No me, no Ben. Me and Ben both back there teaching. We're good enough to teach, right? But we're not good enough for the Wall of Fame. Fame. We'll see about that. I'm going to take some headshots and some command strips next week.
There's something about being.
I can't find it. And I've kind of got bored of looking. But yeah, people were doing it to movies, so that the actor would be looking like that when they're looking that way. But I can't find it. None of you were looking for me. None of you helped. Oh, hang on a minute. Dan has helped. Dan has done it. Dan has found it. Dan has found it. Dan has found it. Making characters look directly at the camera. All right, Dan, may the gods bless you. So we're going to share this screen. Thank you, Dan. It's that. Got to do a little bit of work. Hang on. Need to share audio, share sound. I need to do a little bit of chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. It's a Zoom screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click that. Why won't it let me do that? And I'm going to make Katherine bigger.
I'll tell you who's on the Hall of Fame.
Excuse me, I'm going to make Katherine bigger.
Bigger still, please. Sophie bloody Rayworth is on there. Evan Davis. I mean, who are these people? Who are these people?
Here we go. So, can you see that, Catherine?
Yes.
So this is the NVIDIA thing, making actors look at the camera.
See, if I can't trust you, Greg, then I have no choice but to put you right back outside the circle. And once
That's
you're
how
out,
you talk to
you're
me.
out. There's no coming back.
What weight would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
And if by chance an honest man like yourself should make enemies, then they would become my enemies.
What business is it of yours?
Oh, hang on, no.
Probably best not to tell anyone about this.
Friendo?
I want to see you talking to me. Sorry, that involves a little bit of... Oh, I can
Do it
just
again. Do the
right
whole
there.
thing again.
All right, let me just move me down here. There we go. All right.
See, if I can't trust you, Greg, then I have no choice but to put you right back outside the circle.
Who's he playing Mr. Monopoly?
I think he's being. I think it's in Meet the Fockers with this. He's explaining the circle of trust.
Okay.
And once you're out, you're out. There's no coming back.
What weight would that be?
I seen you was from...
It's the flick. It's when it's...
It's the looking at you like, what are you watching? What are you doing?
It is like a kid in a school play.
Yes.
What would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
And if by chance an honest man like yourself should make enemies, then he would become my enemies.
What business is it of yours?
You talking to me?
Probably best not to tell anyone about this.
Friendo?
It's the moment it turns.
See, if I can't trust...
There. Oh, I love that so much. If you find any more, then let me know. Because
Professor Rince, I can imagine the director shouting, "Cut! You're looking at the camera again."
Let's see if anyone sent me any more. Thank you, Dan. That is appreciated. Yeah, love it. Yeah, love that. Love that. So television in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Never
What's the-
had one.
Oh, it's honestly, Catherine, best thing I've ever done. And I'm watching crap because I'm just saying I'm struggling to sleep. So I watched a terrible film last night and today, Runaway Jury. Rubbish. Didn't make any sense. And then this afternoon I started watching something killer. And it's the name of a knot. Name of a knot killer.
Sheepshank.
Something like, let's call it Sheepshank Killer, something like that. Anyway, I've started watching that. It's good. But then last week, hang on, someone's saying there's someone on Twitter. 10:30, is that their Twitter handle? Clovis. Oh my God, I've just typed in 10:30 and it's taken me to sexy MILF 10:30. I think we have a different definition of what is sexy.
Oh, I was watching. My kids were watching this thing, a reaction video on YouTube.
Oh, I'm looking
earlier
for
on.
movies where they do it, not
If
when
you'd
these
like
movies
to.
are. Sorry.
MILF Island.
Excuse
it's
me, sorry,
called.
what now?
Yeah, and so it's like a load of attractive older women. I shouldn't do that. They're attractive older women who would fall into the subcategory MILF, and they think they're out there to meet some younger guys. Screens roll back. It's their children. It's their sons. They're all cracking onto each other's sons. Yeah.
This is the horniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, MILF Island. It's a
You
real
watched that-
thing.
You watched that with your kids?
I watched a reaction video to it, and all the
So
way
you
through
had
this-
to tell them
oh,
what
MILF
MILF
Manor,
meant?
not MILF Island.
What?
MILF Manor.
MILF Manor.
It's classier than MILF Island.
You had to tell your kids what MILF meant.
Well, I didn't tell them what it meant. They kind of know it as a term. I don't think they know what it stands for.
Okay.
There was the question, "Mummy, are you a MILF?" To which I responded, "But of course."
People sending me links to the iThing. I'm just looking for when they do it in
Alexa,
movies,
stop.
not when they.
Yes, and they have to share a room with their son as well. In the meantime, cracking onto the other young and they are young. We're talking early 20s, women in their mid 40s.
You sent an application into that, have you, Kath?
I don't fancy kids that young. I see little boys.
Okay.
I don't get it. I'm certainly not the female DiCaprio, that's for sure.
So as well as getting a TV, last week I was so distraught and a little bit. Money doesn't matter. So hence I started investigating the Rickenbacker. Bought myself an Xbox Series S for the bedroom. Got it secondhand, 180 quid. Got that bad boy installed. David Turner's has shown me a shonky hack. My boys have got Game Pass, which means they get all these games for free, and I didn't. And he showed me this way you can kind of link your Xboxes in your account, so I get Game Pass and any games they buy. And I'm going on the computer game show, not Monday, the week after. I think it's the 27th. And I said, look, this time I come on, I'm actually going to play some video games. Because I don't normally. I'm going to play some video games. And I've been playing Halo Wars, which is a game that came out 15 years ago. And I was addicted to it. Addicted. I'm totally addicted to it again.
Are you shit at it this time around, though, or are you quite good?
No, I'm as good as I was back then, except the
wow.
people that are playing it have been playing it for 15 years. So I had 4 games with one person. They beat me in 6 minutes each time. It's like, fuck, rage quit, go again. So
Were you being a sweat?
I was a sweaty kid. Yes, I was OG, but I couldn't do it anyway. So then I thought, right, I've got to play some new games. So I said I'd play a game called Civilization 6. It came out today.
Right.
Holy shit, it's boring.
Is it like a strategy game?
It is. No, it's like a boring game that doesn't teach you how to play it. You got to build civilizations in advance. It doesn't teach you how to play it.
I think I used to play something similar to that back in the day. I used to love it, but you know what I'm like for things like that.
So I watched a 35-minute video on how to play Civilization 6 with people that have never played it. I still don't know how to play it, so I'm going to delete that.
Is it one of these things where you get to build like cities and then you
Yes.
might build one of the wonders of the world and then you
and
move
then you
on?
have to evolve. So it's like medieval times. Then
I
you
love
have
that
to
shit.
evolve into like space times.
I love it. Age
So
of
I just
Empires
couldn't-
I used to play.
Thank you. Because I downloaded Age of Empires 2, 1999 game. It's come out on. That's the game I thought Civilization 6 was going to be. So that is the game I'm going to go back and play. Civilization 6, not for me. It's a great game, right? But it's a PC game on a console. And personally, I don't think PC games work on consoles. I don't buy into it. So Age of Empires 2 is, I think, the game I'm going to have a go at.
Yeah, you could be like Saladin in that and stuff, couldn't you?
Yeah. So I'm going to play that. Played a great game called Vampire Survivors that is just so addictive. It's like I'll have one more go and suddenly 2.5 hours are gone. And I want to play. I'm looking for one more new game that's on Game Pass that I can play and take to the computer game show. But yeah, Age of Empires 2 is going to be the one that I play. I think I'm going to have some of that. Because I want to go on to the computer game show. And listen, I'm a funny guy. I'll be funny. But I also want to be able to talk about computer games with them. And I don't, I haven't really played any for a while. So Age of Empires 2, that's tomorrow. And I'll have a little look at Game Pass and see if there's any other games on there that I can take with me.
David Turner says, Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. That looks so shit. Honestly, it looks so shit.
It looks like what our kids call satisfying.
Then I saw Lawnmower Simulator and I thought, lawnmowers? Lawnmower. And it's just the same thing. It's just making something go from one shade to another shade because you're either cleaning it or you're cutting it. That's all it is. Ori and the Blind Forest. Yeah, Dave, you asked a question earlier and I missed it. I can't remember what it was. So I'll have a little look. I want to come on, Dave, and I want to be able to talk games. So I'm hoping Age of Empires sticks because Civilization 6, not for me. Lawnmower Simulator is a poor man's hover bother. Professor Rince, you win the internet tonight because I got that reference. So yeah, that's where I am. That's where I'm at the moment. Game,
Sweet.
Xbox, in my bedroom. But a little bit empty in my life. Death anxiety. Miss my little boy George. Let's play some video games. That's what it's all about.
I'm knitting a scarf for my dad, and I have been since Christmas.
You must be tired.
I am tired. And it's the longest scarf in the world. It's still not long enough. I'm hoping I want to finish it. I've got other things I want to make, because if I give my dad a scarf, my mum's going to say, "Where's my?" She's not going to say that, but in my head, she's thinking, "What about me?" I've got some gloves that I'm going to make for her because she's always got cold hands. Those gloves are going to happen, and I want to crack on with those. I'm already bored of this scarf.
Wool.
It's just so repetitive.
Would the gloves be wool?
Yes, that'd be wool.
I don't make them for me because wool rubbing together on fingers, two fingers covered in wool and it rub. No. So please don't make gloves. Oh,
They're
don't
lovely.
even mime it.
They're a lovely Nordic pattern. They're going to be beautiful.
I'm sure they'd be great, but I'd never make gloves for me out of wool.
And I'm knitting them on 4 needles. So you knit them in a oneer, you'd have to sew them up.
Dave, because I don't have access to an external aerial in my bedroom, so I bought a little metallic one for 12 quid. It looked like a little butt plug for 12 quid, right? And the reviews were great. And I got it, and I plugged it in, and I stretched it out, and it didn't really work. Then I read a review that said, stick it on metal. It's magnetic. The metal will help. So I got a little metal disc, and I put it on there, and it was great, but it was resting on the bookcase. That bookcase is now downstairs. I brought the bookcase down on my own. 3 steps down, I said out loud, "This is a terrible idea." Because it was pushing and it was getting heavier and faster. It's like, oh, fuck. But anyway, I got that down. But now I can't rest the aerial on there. And when it's on this TV, the chest of drawers, it doesn't work. So I stuck the bit of metal with those little Velcro things, stuck it up on the wall. Metal thing is stuck up there. Thing is stuck up there. 166 channels have materialised. More than I get on the telly downstairs that's plugged into the rooftop aerial. I get ITV for a start. 166 channels, Dave. Stick it on a bit of metal, stick it up high. Sort you out, no problem.
Bloody hell. I mean, it looks obscene. It looks like it's got an implement sticking out of the wall.
It looks like a reverse glory hole, yes. Why is it called a glory hole? Is the erection the glory? I suppose it must be morning glory.
Well, my mum calls the cupboard under the stairs the glory hole, and I don't think she realises what the reference is.
Oh my!
Yeah.
It must be the erection. Must be the glory.
Like the morning glory.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never referred to one as that.
David says the spunk is the glory, isn't it? No, I don't think the spunk is, because Morning Glory isn't A Spunky Morning, which is a great film, by the way. Title of my autobiography.
Wasn't there someone called Spunky Brewster? It's Punky Brewster.
Yeah. She was a kid, mate, so that's inappropriate.
I don't think she was. I think she was one of them 30-year-olds with bunches.
Music Soul says, I had a TV in my bedroom which got the signal from the TV in the lounge, so I had to turn that on before I could turn the bedroom one on. Oh, cool. So your mum calls the cupboard under the stairs the glory hole.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to check it out.
I don't think she's using it right. Yeah.
By the way, tomorrow, I've not checked the emails. I think we've had a few. I thought we could do that nice thing again where people send us links of stuff to have a look on YouTube. I think we've been sent a couple. I haven't checked the Late Night Alternative email for ages. Mm-hmm. So I'll have a look. So if you can find any nice little clips, or someone told me about is your Football Manager clip worth watching, David? That was
I've got one but I think you might have to. Do you have to be a Manchester United fan? You have to be vaguely interested in football. But it's a parody of the Banshees of Inisherin. That's quite fun, but again, that's not what David was referring to, right? I'm taking it. Are you going to respond, or are you just going to sit there?
So if you've got a nice clip that you'd like us to watch, send the link to we're probably just going to end up watching sex education videos again. Send an email to latenighalternative.
You'll find that some people have funny names for them, like John Willie.
latenighalternative@gmail.com. Have you heard the guy getting the piano without keys? No, I haven't. Right, so let me So we'll look at David's football manager
Just a
video
second,
that
just
someone's
don't mind me.
recommended. Okay, so we're going to drag that over here. Oh, look. Oh, look. I'm fake. I'm faking it. There we go. There we go. Let's have a little look. See. Oh, she's down there. Let's bring her back up here. Here we go. All right, so let's have a look at this.
Team building, all right, and I just want to give you full attention. I won't buy it, all right, I won't buy it. There's no point being here and going, you missed a day of your life. There's something, a great experience of your life, all right, that I think is worthwhile, all right? So, there's a consultant to come and see you. Yes, Josh.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Is this racially insensitive?
I think I'm saying yes.
Is Shinho doing jokes? Is Shinho doing material? I'm not going to say that name out loud because I've worked on phone-in radio for 25 years. So let's look at
You must be
Shinho's
tired.
stats.
We are tired.
Following. Okay. All right. You've been here for a while. You get to stay. Watch his left leg. Whose left leg are we watching? The Hakama. Oh, hang on a minute. I'm covering the hack. This is really using all of my video skills.
So many skills. All the skills.
Can we get the NVIDIA thing on so they all look at us? They all look at him, then they look to the camera.
That would be perfect.
Okay, let's move me over here. I didn't realise it was quite so easy to move me.
Gaffer, you win some, you lose some, but what causes a 6-1 defeat at Blackpool?
Oh, is that after all that they lost 6-1? We've seen Titanic with a cat. If you've got any clips, email them to us, please. Email latenightalternative@gmail.com. It's a free show again tomorrow, and then we go behind the paywall. £15. See you on Saturday at 10 o'clock. If you're listening to the podcast, go and have a look at our Patreon. See if there is a tier that works for you. Even if you just give us £2 a month. It's great. Patreon.com/Iain and Katherine. Patreon.com/IAIN and Katherine with a K. I'll tell you how you can donate as well if you're feeling flush. We'll do that in a minute. But I don't work in radio anymore. I don't do radio anymore. This is pretty much the only way you get to hear me and see me. And Katherine doesn't work in radio anymore, so this is it. And there are exceptions. I'm doing a load of podcasts at the moment. I've started saying no again. The Humorology podcast came out this week. Apparently, it's a 2-parter.
It's a good one.
That was a lot of fun. The Michael Fenton Stevens one. That's the one I think is going to be great. We recorded it, and as far as I can tell, it's all new stories from me. All new stories for me. Although I missed out on a really good gag at the end. Afterwards, I thought, I should have said. Afterwards, and I'll give you the gag I should have said at the end. It will mean nothing now until you listen to it. I should have said, I made the laughter maker cry. Listen to that, and then you will go, why didn't you say that at the end? I made the laughter maker cry. I'm doing the John Harris and Ellis James one. I think that's not next week, the week after. Mm-hmm. The computer game show and Chatterbix, but I think Chatterbix is probably going to be in June or July. And I've started saying no to other shows. So, yeah, there's the Humorology one, Dan, and the Michael Fenton Stevens one that isn't out yet.
Can I do a little plug?
Yeah, of course you can.
25th of June at the 100 Club, London.
Oh, matey.
Clinton Baptiste and Linda Pollock will be appearing to do a live podcast. Be there. Or don't be there. It's very much up to you. But it'll be a laugh. So that's what we're doing.
I'm going to be there watching. It's going to be great watching it.
It's going to be fun
Thank
times.
you for the sub. Adam, thank you for the sub. Crunchy Frog, I think we mentioned that sub earlier on. Thank you. Visionaries going.
Yay!
Dave says, I hope Robert Fenton Stevens was lovely. I'd never met him, but Michael Fenton Stevens, was an absolute. It was that one is. It was one of my favourite interviews I've ever done. David Turner's is going to that.
Oh, nice.
How are you feeling about that? Doing a live show that I am not involved with. I don't say that in an arrogant way, but we have been kind of broadcasting husband and wife for, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about doing the show with Alex?
I'm not. It's Linda.
For fuck's sake.
It's Linda and Clinton.
How is Linda feeling about doing the show with Clinton?
The way she feels about everything, she could not give a shit.
Okie dokie.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's filthy. I could do that.
You can do filth.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
really
looking
like
forward
that.
to it. Be something different. And seriously, I mean, she's not a million miles away from me, but it's a character. So I feel like there's a little extra layer of defense there. I like it.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
It will
be
be
fun.
So that's the 25th of June.
25th of June, ladies and gentlemen.
But there'll be more. I think we're going to be doing them once a month at some point. Is the idea.
You're going to be sorted.
I will, God.
Has Alex asked if you want to watch Despicable Me 2 yet? What does that mean?
Me?
I'm assuming he's talking about your Alex.
Don't know.
What's that? What does that mean? You're going to get timed out, buddy. If you want to donate, why would you want to do that? Well, that's kind of what people do on Twitch. We're so out of the Twitch world. We used to have like a little dono bar and all of that stuff. We don't now. But if you want to donate, paypal.me/Iain Lee. The money gets split 50-50. You want to tip. Your memory is the absolute worst, Iain. What are you talking about? Has Alex asked if you want to watch Despicable Me 2 yet? What does that mean? PayPal.me/Iain Lee, IAINLEE. If you're listening to the podcast, go and do it now. Just give us a $5. Why not? PayPal.me/Iain Lee. Any possibility of future rabbit holes? Guess new jobs get in the way now. I reckon we might do one a year. I can see us doing like a show at Christmas.
Can you?
I can see us doing one a year.
I was going to say no.
Okay, I can see me doing one a year.
I thought we said we weren't going to do them again.
One a year is no pressure, I think. Well, okay, it's just me then. Brilliant, double bubble. The Smith says, thank you for the sub. This is my football team. It's quite surreal you playing this clip. Ainsworth visited me in hospital when I was diagnosed with cancer. Here's the manager. He was my favourite player at the time. Well, there you go. That's fantastic. David, explain the clip. Explain your comment. Explain your comment, please.
Don't get it.
The time you said Alex plays Fortnite, wanted to watch Despicable Me 2 with you, but I thought you meant... Oh, but I thought you meant Alex Lowe and then made a meme so funny I was almost sick every time I saw it. Can you send me that meme? Can you WhatsApp that meme? It was... there's nothing funnier for me. The two funniest things in the world are the silhouette of a Native American stood looking over a vista with a totally inappropriate, supposedly inspirational comment, or a picture of someone with something they've said or something it would be funny if they said, then with their birth date and the current date to imply that they've dead, and that's the quote that they wish to be remembered by. And he did that for Alex Lowe. May not have had the dates on it, but let's assume it had 1970 to 2020. Do you want to watch Despicable Me 2 with me? Alex Lowe, 1970, 2020. I love it. But I don't know how to do it. I don't know how you make those. I don't know how you make those pictures.
You don't know how to make a meme?
I don't know how you make memes. So I'm constantly saying to David, here, this is a funny idea. Could you make it for me, please?
You go online, if you Google meme maker, you can make them yourself like that.
Meme maker.
Yeah.
Star taker. Oh, baby.
I thought you were going to say home baker then. I thought perfect.
I said home
no.
baby.
I know.
There we go. Shinho has got a meme maker. All right, let me make a meme. All right, let's make a meme, shall we? It's opened on Bing. For some reason, when I open a file, it opens on Bing, and I've set Google to be the thing.
They're determined, aren't they, to try and make us go to Bing? But none of us like it.
All right, let me find a picture of, or let me find a. Who should we do? Let's do Katherine.
Yeah.
Let's do Katherine as a meme. All right, so. Oh, hang on a minute.
Team building.
Oh, stop.
Right, and I just want to give you full attention.
Stop. Okay, right. So, let's find a picture of Katherine Boyle. Images. Hello, Pat's image.
Thing is about me is I never say anything that's remotely memeable.
Well, no, we're going to make something up.
All right,
guys, get your
good.
suggestions. Get your suggestions in. So I'm going to save that image.
Oh, good. It'd be a nice image as well. I know it.
Katherine, mate, come on. We're just having a little bit of internet fun.
Yeah.
Save that on desktop so I know where that is.
Why would I possibly be slightly worried about this?
How do I add image? Upload image. Are you going to see? I don't want you seeing any private files. Fucking Gary Glitter.
He's not a private file.
What? What an absolute prick.
He can't help himself, can he?
Sent straight back to prison. That's him done now, isn't it?
Yeah. The original ODB. Good. Oh, that's baby me.
Top text. Right, guys, we come up with a suggestion of what she can say, because bottom text is going to be Katherine Boyle. Oh, look at that font! 1976.
No.
2020. It doesn't matter.
It does
guys,
matter.
Have we got something inappropriate that we can put
You
up
put
there
an
for
extra
us?
year on
this
me.
This is the best thing ever. I didn't know you could do this.
Yes.
What have we got? Don't lecture me, I'm a lecturer. I can do dirty. I teach right. Give us the meat. Give us the meat. Give us the meat. I got it. Right.
Oh,
I
God.
just need to.
Bodell, you're not helping. Good grief.
Here we go. Okay, so then
David J. Fury.
generate meme. Then I tweet it. So I'm going to tweet it.
Oh, good. You're going to tweet it. That's the first time I'll see it, right? When it goes out into the world.
I shouldn't really do this stuff now. I'm a professional counsellor.
And I am a teacher.
All right, so tweet it.
Let me just check Twitter.
Where I don't know if it's. Has it come up? I don't think it's come up. Okay, so then what we do is we go here. It's that.
I do not call it the glory hole. My mum does. You're in so much trouble.
So now, if I were to go on WhatsApp, would this be on my WhatsApp now? This wouldn't be on WhatsApp now, would it?
No, how would it be on your WhatsApp?
Because does it not go to a reservoir of memes?
How do you think? No. What do you mean, like where the GIFs live?
Yeah, does it not go where the GIFs live?
No.
This is a meme, not a GIF. But it comes a link, not a meme. So it's not like a. So I can download it, right?
Yeah, you could. You could screenshot it and make it an image. I don't know why I'm flipping weaponizing you. Shouldn't tell you, should I?
I should screenshot it, shouldn't I? That's what I'm going to do. All right. But it's not very big, is it? Snipping tool. It.
No, I think it's quite big enough.
Save image. Kath Glory. Desktop. So hopefully now I can tweet Kath's glory hole. Here we go. There we go.
Well, quite, Linny, quite.
I'm not going to tweet it because I'm a respected counsellor now. But I'll just like it. There it is. There we go. It's fun, wasn't it? I killed a few minutes. Go to share and click WhatsApp. What? Share. WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's how you'll send it to yourself, but it won't be in the WhatsApp reservoir.
Oh no, you might see my phone number. You're going to see my phone. I'm showing you that. Jesus. Pardon me.
Oh.
Pardon me. So yeah, when I click on links, it takes me to Bing. Everything's Bing.
Brushed.
You must have it somewhere as your default.
I don't have it as my default.
Tell you what you don't have.
We're back.
Me on screen.
Oh, bloody hell. Calm down. What's your problem?
Because I do not call it the glory hole, and now my history has been rewritten.
That's not a bad idea. Original memes created by TLNA for only £10. Oh,
call them NTAs, not NTAs.
We have to sign. We have to send out some merch tomorrow. You're coming tomorrow. You're coming here.
Yeah.
Right. We have to send out some merch.
What kind of merch are we talking?
I'm not allowed to say at this precise junction in time. But we're a week late. But I was in mourning.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to say at this junction in time.
Okay.
But we will be sending. Something like that. I tell you what's great.
Go on.
I'm not. Well, I'm mentioning it, so I guess there is some curiosity. Not looked once at how many. I've got no idea how many people are here. I'd guess 186, but I don't know. I've got no idea.
Incorrect.
Go on. What is it now that I've guessed?
Well,
226. It ends in 6, right?
200. It says. No, 200.
Okay, 206.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I don't really care about numbers anymore. But 200 feels a bit low to me. Is TLNA coming back on Twitch? No, Caveman. Also, yes, Caveman.
A bit.
We do 2 shows a month on Twitch. Actually, we could split it up and do one week and one a couple of weeks later. It's just easier just to send out the thing. So we do 2 shows a month on Twitch of this. Sometimes I might start coming on and doing some gaming. I don't have the desire at the moment, but I might at some point. I do not have that desire at the moment. But we do 2 shows a month generally on Twitch that you can see for free. If you've got Amazon Prime, link your Amazon Prime. You know this because you're on Twitch. You can sub to us using your Amazon Prime. Don't pay to sub to us on Twitch. That's a con. You've got Amazon Prime, click the sub, that's fine. But generally,
that just ends up going into Bezos's rocket fund.
Yeah, don't spend money on it. You can support us better by going to patreon.com/Iain and Katherine, patreon.com/IAIN and Katherine with a K. $4.99 a month plus VAT. You get 2 shows per week behind a paywall, about 2-3 hours, depending on how we're feeling and how we're going. You can watch them live. You can watch them back, as you can about 350 other shows. You can also get those delivered to your telephone as podcasts. I ain't on the radio anymore. Katherine is not on the radio anymore. This is really, apart from me guesting on other people's pods and Katherine guesting on the Clinton Baptiste podcast, this is it. And this is not you know, a long con waiting to get a radio gig. I probably won't. BBC 4 Extra I do every now and then. But Alan Bezic is so boring right now. And it's coming to an end. He'll be out in May. It's so boring. And it took me, I kind of mentioned in the Discord, I don't know if I'm enjoying it. And Jimbo said, yeah, they're boring. I was
You
like,
know what it
oh,
is?
shit, they are. You freed me.
He's hit the point. He's not building anymore, is he?
He doesn't care. But also, he's just not getting the callers. You know, some shows you don't get the callers. And so he's just playing a lot of Blondie. And I can't fall asleep listening to Blondie, you know, so I can't fall asleep listening to the show anymore because there's too much music. Yeah, it's boring. It's coming to an end. It's the end of an era. I haven't listened to Howard Hughes since he was a prick. That's a bit harsh. But I fell out with Howard. Or Howard fell out with me.
Yeah.
That was weird. That was really weird, actually.
It was ridiculous.
All because I said that the twat he had on pretending he could read, pretending he was psychic doing astrology. I said he was shit. Which you
didn't even say it as strongly as that, but he got the guy himself got very precious about it.
I take that back. Howard is not a prick. I retract that instantly. But we did fall out, and I think it was out over nothing. And I did apologise to him. But yeah, he had this awful. Was he psychic or was he an astrologer or was he both? Wasn't he?
I mean,
and he was. I called him out being pony. And then this guy got furious and refused. I found out later, refused to go on Howard Show. Been working with him for years. Then I reached out to this guy and said, I'm really sorry. And he just let this tirade of abuse. And I said, and I had about 3 messages where I'm really sorry. You shouldn't say this. We're colleagues. And you're only saying this because you've been told to apologise. And I went, we're not colleagues. I haven't been told to apologise. This is a genuine apology. I'm really, really sorry. I shouldn't have said what I said.
We're not colleagues. He was a guest on someone else's show. He was a guest, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Because he was a regular, he thought he was more important than he was.
He kept coming back. And after the 3rd one, I said, do you know what? I've apologised to you humbly. I haven't been told to. You're acting like a really rude, entitled... I may have called him a prick. I don't know. You're acting really rude and entitled. You don't get to speak to me like that. If you're choosing not to go on Howard's show because of what I said, that's entirely on you. I've said sorry. Never contact me again. Block.
Yeah. Do you know, I feel like that was him.
He got called out. He's not a psychic because he can't do it. Sorry, Faith, and sorry.
What I feel like with him was, you know, we talk about people. Sometimes people have a little bit of self-examination and work out what their part in the misfortunes of their life might be, and other people shove their shit around. It was the latter, and I do feel like you bore the brunt of. Maybe he feels insulted by people continually mocking his act, right? He felt less than, but that wasn't on you. That wasn't on you.
No.
And also, he had been shite at predicting anything. There'd been an episode where everything he'd suggested had been knocked back, and that was all you were pointing out. You weren't saying he was a charlatan. Those were not the words. It was just like, oh, you know, I had a bit of a tough time, and he didn't like it being flagged up, did he?
I was trying to see if I've still got the.
I remember his name.
Oh, go on, give me his name. Who cares?
Because even the name is unlikely.
It was like something like
Christian Dion.
Christian Dion.
Like, can't use Christian Dior. Change one letter.
No, I've deleted. I'm seeing.
He was a very unpleasant gentleman.
Private messages from Howard Kalin of the Turtles.
Nice.
And Christian O'Connell of the radio, but no, I'm not seeing. Not seeing that. Yeah.
Ridiculous behaviour.
It was ridiculous.
Well,
I've seen that one before, yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous behaviour. And he was a... Anyway. Some people become a little... He'd been doing it for years with Howard. And I don't know if... I haven't listened to Howard's show since then. Because I thought it could have been sorted out really... He came to you because he didn't want to come to me.
Yeah.
And I just thought, fucking grow up.
It was all that. It was that kind of, oh, we're having terrible trouble, and
And
yeah,
I
it
used
was
to
that.
big his show up, and he had
Also, do you know what? Handle your guest. Handle your guest. It's not on us.
He did have one woman on. I think he had one woman on who was booked at last minute, did not get one thing right. And I would tweet about his show all the time, and it was very supportive stuff. But she did not get one thing right. And I called her out for it. I said, "You've got to listen to Howard Hughes' show. There's a psychic on. She would say something, the person go, no.
And she goes, well, you have a think about that. It will make sense in time. Oh, I mean, sooner or later, I might make someone talk about a dog.
Anyway, Howard Hughes is a person, great guy. But didn't listen to the show since then. I'm surprised he's still on. There's nothing I listen to on radio. I listen to a bit of James O'Brien, but not too much because I find it very depressing. I listen to a bit of Nick Ferrari in the morning just because I want noise in the morning. I don't really like music, but fucking hell, he's awful. His views is awful.
I'm just wondering when the era of, stoking the flames of division will end, because aren't we all tired of that? It's exhausting. And from morning till night, no wonder we've got so many arseholes on Twitter.
Anyway, it's funny, I still talk about radio as though I'm part of it, and I'm not. And I'm so glad to be out of it. And if I think about it too much, if I think about Jack, if I think about talk, I get angry about it, and it's nothing to do with me anymore. And it's great that it's nothing to do with me. Turned down a little bit of TV work the other day, a few £100 to go on a Channel 5 show talking about Ant and Dec, and it was on a Monday, so I can't do it. I can do it on a Wednesday. I can't do it on Monday. Can't do Mondays, Tuesdays, or Thursdays. I've got clients. If they can do it on a Wednesday, I'm in. They couldn't do it on a Wednesday, didn't do it. The money would have been so handy, easy gig. You go into London, you talk for an hour and a half, you come back, you get a few £100. But couldn't do it. So there was no, I can move. Let me see if I can move this and move that. I couldn't move it. I didn't want to move it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, because what you're doing is the thing, and television is not the thing anymore.
And Dave, it was on this week, right? The thing was on this week, and I was asked to do it last Monday. I saw that. It was Channel 5 30 best bits of Ant and Dec 2023. I was asked to do it last Monday. Tommy Boyd's doing a show on some small radio station. Not listened to any of that. Not any. Pete, it's a good line. I can't say it out loud, Pete. But steady. Good line. Tommy Boyd's doing a show, and I just don't even have the desire to listen to that. I'm just not interested in radio. Got my good podcasts, got my Nothing Is Real pod. It was a shit show pod, the computer game show. There's a Beach Boys one that comes out every now and then. Oh, and the Andrew Hickey pod. I'm devouring that. The history of rock and roll in 500 songs, devouring that. So no, I don't. And 4 Extra, I will listen to 4 Extra to have a little doze to. If I have a little doze in the day or at night time, I listen to that because I like their crap comedies. There's a really boring drama series about a plane that gets lost. Gatford, who is a Tommy Boyd aficionado, dare we say, rimmer. Tommy's show is not the Boyd I remember. Tell me about it, because I've not. Oh, you nicked that from Dead Ringers, did you, Pete? Okay, I've not listened to it. Let's put the link in, shall we? We're hurtling towards the end of the show. And have you seen Cocaine Bear yet? No, I think I will. I think I can swerve that. If you want to come, Gatford, come and join us in the chat. Tell us about the Tommy Boyd show. If you want to listen to it, it's on Regency Radio. I believe it's a Sunday night. I'm guessing 7 till 10, 10 till 1, something like that. It's good that he's back on the air. Definitely good. It just doesn't interest me at the moment. Ross says, Joey and I have loved watching Iain and Katherine on Twitch again for the first time in ages. And there's a lovely picture of a cat ignoring us on the screen.
Hello.
Sorry, Mr. Gatford, is your son Gary around?
Just because the hair's getting a bit long and there's a bit of grey in the beard. Do you mind?
Okay.
So
tell us about it.
Talk to us about Mr. Boyd.
First of all, have you done a show with Tommy Boyd, Iain, on the radio?
No.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, I tell you, well, because you need a name. I don't need a name. I am the name. I am the name.
Just laying it out there. It's dry. It's him and his co-presenters kind of talking a lot. They're not taking as many calls as I thought he would. So the Boyd I remember would play off the callers. And it's just, there's little bits. When he starts talking about the news, you can kind of hear that bit. Like, Boyd did a great bit about William Shatner and a film.
KKK. Oh, no. Yes. Okay.
And you can hear him, and he's like, there's the journalist behind him really getting into it and really going for him. And there's little bits of that. But he hasn't really got anything. I mean, even he said, I'm not sure what I've got left to say. He said that he said it on his first show. Now, I don't know whether he meant that jokingly or in jest, or real, but I don't know. I'm going to give he wasn't on this week for whatever reason, so I'm going to give it another go.
Yeah, but also I'm not the Iain that you would have remembered when I was at Jack, because I wasn't getting the calls. I am based on bouncing off of other people, whether it be a producer as it was with Will until Will and Joe, and then when Will went, it wasn't. Joe is great. I couldn't quite get that magic going.
But she also had another job to do.
Exactly. You're absolutely right, Katherine. Thank you. And I wasn't getting the calls. So I'm assuming he's on a small station. I've never heard of Regency. Imagine he's not getting the calls.
No. But then they're not inviting calls. So like on the website, well, no, but like he doesn't read out a phone number.
No, but he won't. No, but he won't out of principle.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
why he used to always get me to do it.
Because Katherine has worked with him. Katherine has produced.
That's true. Yes, she has
several and presented with him.
He said the presenter should never be the one that reads out the number. He'd
well,
been
then
on
the
a course or
co-presenters
something.
don't do it either. So.
Well, maybe it's because he doesn't want to sound like he's begging.
No, I don't know. And as I say, there's only been like 3. So, got to give him time, I suppose, because he has been away for it for a while now. Probably since those shows he did with you, Katherine.
Yeah. Wasn't my fault.
It was my fault.
You were in the jungle.
Yeah, no. I was away at one point, and I came back. I remember I came back. I'd flown somewhere, and I was driving back, and I thought, I'll listen. I never listen to my shows when I'm not on, but I thought I'll listen. And it was Tommy presenting the show, and Katherine was the sidekick, giving out the Katherine. What texts have we got? And I thought he sounded, in this instance, old and boring, and Katherine was obviously infinitely more engaged because it was our slot, it was her show, and I then tweeted, a bit mean really, I said, we need to get a petition to get Katherine to present the show when I'm off. I started it on there, and there was a lot of, and I atted Talk Radio, I think I atted Denny Morris.
Yeah.
And then when there was enough traction, I went to him and said, you are totally missing a trick not having Katherine present the show. Why would you not do it? There's the continuity. Not many people were calling in with Boyd. There's the continuity. People know it. You should totally get her on, which they did, but for quite a long time, they didn't trust you to do it on your own, Katherine. So they got Katie in, which is great,
which was lovely. But yeah, do you know who was a big supporter of that little move and who people assumed that was being done out of a job? Rufus Hound.
Ross.
Rufus Hound.
Oh, yeah. See, Rufus was Rufus was quite good when he stepped in for you.
I'm sure he was. He's he's good. He's a talent.
He was good. One of the few that I remember when Bam Bam filled in for you on Virgin. Holy moly.
Yeah, but they can't win because basically you're going to a party expecting the host to open the door and it's his neighbour or it's some fella you've vaguely heard of. Do you know what I mean? So the idea of having a stand-in presenter on a show like that ran so much on intimacy and familiarity, running jokes, all that kind of stuff. It's a big ask. Rufus was the closest, I think, to getting the spirit of the show.
That's because Rufus either listened or pretended that he listened or had some interest in Iain in the first place.
I also think that there is a great deal to do with the fact that Rufus is also ADHD, right? So he'd come in
okay.
I am knitting. It was a flight of fancy. I've got to get this done. I'm so bored of it. Look how long it is. It's still not long enough.
What are you doing? Doctor Who's scarf or something? What's going on?
It's for my dad.
Well, is your dad 7'4"?
He's not, but he has to be able to get it around his neck, and so I'm
He's
nearly
got a fat
done.
neck.
Yeah.
I'm nearly done.
Dear me.
Alan says, I really like Katherine and Katie shows. They were good. I listened to some of them when I was in New York. I think it was in New York when...
I still listen to Katie's We Didn't Start the Fire podcast, where she goes through all the historical events in the We Didn't Start the Fire song.
They even had Billy Joel on.
They did, yes. And they're still going. I think they've come to an end of most things. I think they're redoing a few bits. But
Imagine,
shame there's
Katherine,
no other... They need to do other list songs.
You're friends with... we both are friends with Katie Pucker. When I, for a few months after leaving Talk and I couldn't get any work and I was distraught and I was able to chat to her about it. She ended up working in a perfume shop when she couldn't get TV and radio work, which is incredible. But it's mad, isn't it, Katherine? We're friends.
Yeah.
Did I think she popped up on Times Radio, or was I...
Yeah,
She did.
She's doing stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She did. Quite right too. She's a massive talent, Katie, and it breaks my heart. For a long time, it was me continually banging the drum for her. Would you ever listen to Katie Puckry? Would you ever talking to the various bosses? And of course, it was like, yeah. And then I'd ring Katie and nothing had happened. And it broke my heart. She's so good. She's obviously so good.
In the end, you had to go and pick her up in your car to get her on.
I did. And I got pulled over by the police on the way back as well because I got lost and went through a red light. But apart from that, it was great.
That'll be on camera somewhere.
Yeah. She let the police officer really... It's the first time I've had an experience of a police officer being a cowbag. She leant in, obviously trying to work out whether I would be drinking or whatever. She's like, and she was sarcastic and rude. And I thought, okay, all right, this is the reality, is it?
So he never told you the story about how he got propositioned by two policewomen once?
Only about 5 times a week for the last 10 years.
Just one. Yeah, that and Angelina Jolie, I think.
She kissed me. We kissed.
Yeah, on the cheek, I hear.
And Shania Twain, of course.
Really?
Yes, mate. You turns out you're a plastic fan.
Well, I remember Sarah Harding, but I didn't remember Shania Twain.
Don't mention
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm just
Stay on the air. I say Arding. Hey, Kath doesn't know that story.
Okay.
But I will.
It'll be in Iain Lee's memoirs coming soon.
Will says Iain worked with Angelina Jolie. All right, before you play the dyslexic card, I'm just reading what you wrote. Did I? Is he being sarcastic because I've told him that 5 times as well?
I think you may have told him.
I'm going to time that bell cheese out.
He's not. I mean, he's not even a VIP in the chat. What's going on?
Let's make this baby boy a little VIP.
Yeah.
Will, how's your radio show? Oh no, that's
Oh no, I don't do that anymore. Oh, you mean Will? Sorry.
I was talking to Will. Yeah. What are you up to at the moment, Gatford?
I started some CBT therapy today.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, it was very weird opening up in that way to someone for the first time, but she was very good.
CBT, for those who don't know, it's cock and ball torture.
Oh, yeah.
Cognitive behavioural therapy, in case there are any...
Oh, it's that one. Sorry. Thought you meant the other one.
Somebody's probably put Cotford in the chat by now. And yeah, it was good. It was weird opening up somebody for the first time, but she was very good. And we set some goals, which is good. And I've got about 7 or 8 sessions, and then we do a little review. So yeah, I think it will be helpful as long as I can remember to do the homework and be engaged. Because I think I can be a little bit flaky on that.
May I? Because I don't do CBT. CBT is something very, very different to what I practice.
Yeah, it's cock and ball torture.
Well, I do that. If you go to a GP and you are lucky enough to get talking therapy on GP, you normally get 6, 8, 12 sessions of CBT. That's what they give, and there is a reason that you get that as opposed to what I do, which is humanistic integrative therapy. May I ask, and you don't have to tell me because this is obviously private,
sure.
May I ask what your homework is?
On my phone. I know I've got to set 3 long-term therapy goals.
Right.
I've got the email. I don't mind sharing. You know me.
Okay, as long as you're sure, because it's obviously it's private.
No, it's fine because I'm not. I have no issues.
Will's gone S&M-ford and Kink Shameford.
Nice.
Will's gone to town with this.
Will, I think Will's a little bit tipsy.
You fill your boots, Smithy. Go for it. I can't find it. So there was how do you feel this first session went? What are your 3 goals for therapy throughout the whole thing? Mm-hmm. And what does so some of what we talked about is how I don't enjoy things I used to enjoy. So she phrased the question is, what do you think it will look like if you're able to re-enjoy these things? So I used to be a very big reader, but I struggle with books. I struggle with attention span.
Me too.
So a book to me is too long. She wants me to think about what would I, because the other thing I'm struggling is with sleep and having a relaxing evening. So like my view would be great if I could read a book, because I'd relax, I'd fall asleep naturally. I wouldn't feel the need to do something else. So she's asked me to think about that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next session now that I've had the first one. The first one was a bit daunting.
Yeah, have you ever had talking therapy before?
Yeah, about funnily enough, about when was the London riots? I only say that was because that was when my anxiety started. Yeah. So that must have been 2011.
Yeah,
I was working in Catford on the day that it was ransacked.
Yeah.
Was sent home. I saw things on the way home. I saw shops being looted. Obviously, I'm not saying I was like in the middle of Tottenham, where obviously things were
you don't need to quantify it. Your experience is your experience.
Yeah, but that's what set me off on a path of anxiety. I remember staying up till 3 o'clock that morning. I had BBC News on one laptop. I had ITV News on my phone and Sky News on the telly. And I was on Twitter. I was obsessed by it. And that's what kicked off my anxiety.
Do you mind if let's just go through these? So there's Subford, there's Up the Throbberford.
Oh my God.
There's Takes Glasses Off to Read Screenford.
Yeah. Hey, I'm nearly 50. This is what I do.
Nearly 50-ford.
Dave said, I'm so pleased my legacy will be fud. I know that's not what you mean, but it reads funny like that.
Yeah.
My problem is falling asleep after a chapter. I get so bored of stuff now. I get bored halfway through knocking one out. Well done, Gary. Nice one, Gatford. Braveford. Gatford in Catfordford. Gatford in Catfordford.
But hold on,
do
they not know that Gatford came from Gary from Catford? They probably don't even know.
Graham says, genuine question. Is it worth speaking to a GP about therapy, counselling, or is private the only way to go? It depends. If you go to a GP, you could be waiting 5 months, 6 months, a year.
I waited 7 months.
You're in Scotland though, aren't you, Graham? You might have a better...
It probably is a little bit better up there. How many sessions have you got, Gary? Do you know?
I think she said we review after 8, but I've got up to 12, and it can be more. But in their minds, they think 12.
And it will be CBT. Now, CBT is not everyone gets on with it, and it sounds like you're getting on with it, which is great. Yeah. CBT is great. Let me say that. There we go. CBT is great. I do think private, if you can afford it, because you have different types of therapy. For example, I would not be setting homework. I would make suggestions of things that people might like to try and do over the week, but I would not be as formal as what you've been set.
And she did avoid calling it homework until I said it's homework, because I was realising that she was obviously avoiding that word, and I'm like, it's fine, don't worry about it.
And I imagine I make up she's quite hands-on in the session, is she?
Yeah, the talking is about 50-50.
Okay, right. And that would not be how I would work, for example, in my practice. I am led by the client. I always start with, well, what would you like to talk about today? That's kind of where, not always, but that's that. Mm-hmm. They lead it. And I will quite often sit here in silence. And we sit in the silence. So there's that. So that's kind of some of the differences. So it's up to you. I always think if you can afford these things, then you have more choice.
There's excellent options private. I looked at it, decided that I was okay to wait because I thought I was. So it's and it hasn't. What I'm receiving therapy for has got trickier the last couple of weeks, but I've been okay. I've been safe, and that's one of the things I suppose is that. One of the things I was really impressed about was I don't feel like I'm a risk person. I know me. But the first couple of questions were, have you ever thought about committing suicide? Have you ever thought about cutting yourself? Do you feel like you are letting other people down? So they're trying to check in with you as well. So there is that wonderful part of it. She said it's like a safety check, and it felt like a genuine, this person has an interest in me enough to ask, how are you doing? And I know how important that is in any kind of mental health struggle, is just somebody saying to you occasionally, how's it going? Giving you that space to say it's great or it's bad or it's not.
And that's what it is about, giving space.
Yeah.
Drunk Chimp says, last time I saw a therapist, she told me, I don't think this is going to work for you. It's like getting blood from a stone. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
it
depends on the individual, I suppose, doesn't it? You know.
But you would never say that.
But it shouldn't be on the patient, should it?
You wouldn't never say that as the interest. If it is difficult for the client to share stuff, well, then you look at that. It's, you know, I often suggest maybe you'd like to try this over the week. There's no pressure. And if you don't do it, we can look at the reasons why you didn't. They will be just as useful as what you did do with the work. What was stopping you doing this?
I've been to a counsellor, it was through work, that does more what you said, where they're more listening. And I found it uncomfortable.
I would ask you why is that uncomfortable?
Because I'm not, despite the fact I talk for Britain, I'm not very good about talking about myself. So I would find it really, so like she would say things like, and how did that make you feel? And I'd sit there going, I don't really know. And then I feel like, am I emotionless? Do I not have any feelings? You know, so I didn't do too well with someone leaving the space for me.
And it's not for everyone. Some people find it very uncomfortable. What I would gently nudge you to do is to find out where that started from. Where was it that you and I'm making wild guesses, which I would never do. So this is not about you specifically. Were you told that emotions weren't good? Were you denied emotions from your parents? That's kind of what I look at. I would never lead that. I would allow the client to get there. But those are some of the things.
Yeah, a lot of us were brought up to be to crack on and not be quote unquote self-indulgent, so you wouldn't think that closely about yourself.
Yeah.
It was kind of taboo, wasn't it?
Exactly. I mean, a lot of the things that are going on with Mum at the moment, we found out that, as a side note, Mum's doing okay. We can have two-way conversations with Mum at the moment now.
Oh, great.
Which is really good. So her mobility's not good and we're not there yet with the meds, but she can hold a good two-way conversation. So that's a real encouragement. We found out that my grandfather had ECT, which is the shock therapy.
Yeah.
And that's something that's being discussed with Mum. We're not there yet. We've done a lot of reading and listened to a number of very good podcasts about it. But those sort of things just weren't talked about in families.
No.
At all. My grandfather, in fact, told my nan never to tell anybody. And she only told my mum after my grandfather passed away.
Yeah.
And it's just as you say, that historical way of which some way families deal with stuff and what influence it has. Like, we've got no one around now who we can ask about my grandfather's treatment. There's no one alive. So it's too late. The moment is gone.
There's vague murmurings. Sorry, I was going to say there were vague murmurings in my family about people having nervous breakdowns. That's what they'd say, but then they're fine, and it was never, that was never discussed any further than that. But you find that in every family. You watch.
Oh yeah, and lots of people that I've spoken to. Oh yeah, my father-in-law, my brother had that, or went to as soon as you say the words, my mum's in a mental home. Mental hospital, people open up a bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Smith says, I get the best out of a counsellor using the person-centred Carl Rogers approach. That's one of mine. I got three. I'm three-tiered. I'm person-centred, I'm Gestalt, and I'm existential.
Does that go on your business card?
No, it's too long. It's too many words.
And you can't spell Gestalt, can you? So.
I can't. That's Gestalt. Gary, lovely to see you.
Yes,
best of luck. I hope the work goes well.
Thank you.
Lots of love to you and Mum.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye-ford. Bye-bye-ford.
Good old Gatford.
My word. I think we're done for tonight. It's The Apprentice. I want to go watch The Apprentice. I hope you agree. These shows certainly feel so much more fun.
We're not spread as thin, are we?
No. Thank you so much for letting me have the week off last week. It would have been an awful. The shows would have been awful. So thank you for that. It's appreciated. And yeah, no, neither of us are spread so thin. Certainly not these days. The way I'm losing a bit of weight. But yeah, back tomorrow at 7. Another freebie. Spread the word, please, guys. Do tell people. There is a fun show, and it will be a phone-in tomorrow because Catherine's going to be here. We can't do the Skype, the phone-in when she's over there. I can't quite work it out. But we will be doing it tomorrow. So let people know between 7 and 10 there's a really dumb, fun show. Young, dumb, and full of fun. Will, I will give you in fact, Will, let me get, you're going on the whiteboard, Will.
That means you're definitely getting a call.
In the next
You asked for
months. Call Will. Back tomorrow at 7. Do tell people, do let people know if you're listening to the podcast. Thank you. You can get a full-length podcast, 2 full-length podcasts every week by going to patreon.com/Iain and Katherine, patreon.com/Iain and Katherine with a K. We should do a raid. Oh, the computer game show guys are streaming. So let's go and do a little raidington.
Must we? It is a silly place.
It's a silly place. Let's I've got to log in again. Why have I got to log in? You got to send me an SMS code again. Jesus.
The actual
024.
Anyway,
Don't share this
find
code.
that.
I'll share 024 255.
Have a lovely evening, restful one, unless you're about to watch the computer game show, in which case you're about to have a lot of laughs. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hang on, who's doing it? It's
We'll see you tomorrow.
Hang on, who's doing it? It's
We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we started that. It's who's doing it tonight? I'm hoping it's one of the good ones. It's Sean. It's one of the good ones. It's Sean. Right. I was worried for a second. Zoom screen. Oh no, that's not it. I can't remember how you do it. Share screen. That. Zoom screen. There we go. Right, then we're going to raid.
Awesome
He's
magic
got his
happening.
microphone very, very quiet. Go in there and say, turn your mic up.
The first thing we see, the outer rim.
Tell him to go and turn his mic up. So head over, say hello. It's lovely, Sean, from the Computer Game Show. I'm doing their podcast in a couple of weeks. See you tomorrow at 7. Ciao, ciao, ciao.